What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty. Join my Discord if you want to chat and share your thoughts, the link is in the description. 6DF Chapter 141 Senju Tobarama Dirty Soil, for subscription. Not only Orochimaru is super brave, in Shi Shangyang's opinion, this Mitokado Homura who rushed towards him is also super brave. He didn't understand the seriousness of the matter, so he rushed towards him directly. Is this because he thinks he has lived too long? Shi Shangyang stood there and didn't move. The latter made a mark on his hands and spat out a mouthful of viscous kerosene at him halfway through. Fire-style refining firebomb. 35 As soon as the order of the seals changed, the kerosene turned into a flame. The kerosene was instantly ignited, and rushed to the position where Shi Shangyang was, and the flames were burning, but neither the kerosene nor the flame had any effect on Shi Shangyang. Influences. How come? Mitokado Homura was startled, but as Sarutobi Hiruzen's companion, his fighting experience was also not bad, and he instantly distanced himself from Shi Shangyang. The quicker he came, the quicker he retreated now. Come if you want, leave if you want, have you asked me? Shi Shangyang said, stretched out his hand to Mitokado Homura. The next moment, a burst of suction. Mito. 907. Homura was in midair before landing, but his body flew forward abruptly. What? He was shocked, and the others did the same. The ninjas around him subconsciously attacked Shi Shangyang again. Even if they knew that doing so would have no effect at all, their duties as ninjas made them unable to watch. Unmoved by the attack on the top of the village. But the result is still the same as before, without any change. Those attacks went through Shi Shangyang's body, and the jumpsuit Kakuzu didn't lift. Mitokado Homura wanted to control his body, but in midair, he had nowhere to do anything, so he could only let this strange force pull himself in front of the opponent. And just when he thought he would be caught by Shi Shangyang, a repulsive force suddenly acted on him, and in an instant, as if he was bombarded by a heavy hammer, he flew out at a faster speed than when he came. Call out. As soon as the figure flashed, Mitokado Homura appeared more than a dozen meters away, directly crashing into a house, with a rumbling sound, and the smoke and dust billowed in an instant. Inflammation. Utatane Kaharu was startled. He spit out a gust of wind after forming a seal on his hands, blowing away the disgust there, and then his pupils shrank suddenly. Beneath the half-wall, Mitokado Homura was half lying with his head lowered, his hands spread out on his legs, blood dripping down his chest. What was shocking was that he didn't know when there was an extra handle at the heart of his chest. Kunai penetrated into it, only showing half of the handle. Saw. Utatane Kaharu came to him and touched his breath with a look of panic, and then his body froze. Inflammation. With a shout, Sarutobi Hiruzen who was fighting Orochimaru also saw the scene here and was shocked. Advertisement boom. This distraction, he was kicked in the abdomen by Orochimaru, and the whole person flew out. Old man, don't be distracted when fighting, you taught me this. Orochimaru bit his finger with a sneer, and said in a hoarse voice. In order to repay your teaching over the years, let you look at this art of my new master. This is an art developed by the second generation project, I think. He shouldn't have thought that this technique would be used on you. Make a seal with both hands, and then press down on the ground. Impure World Reincarnation. 99 Ka Ka Ka. A coffin slowly rose from the ground. The lid of the casket was facing the direction of Sarutobi Hiruzen, and a word was written in thick pen on it. He heard Orochimaru chuckle lightly. In order to find this person's body, I have spent a lot of effort, but unfortunately the person's body has not been cloned yet, otherwise you will be able to see the two of them today, old man. When Shi Shangyang saw this scene, he felt a sense of déjà vu. He co-authored and used Impure World Reincarnation to summon first generation and second Hokage, which had already been planned here in Orochimaru. He watched silently, without any intention of going up to help. He just managed to solve the Mitokado Homura, and for him, it was only to the extent of moving his muscles and bones. As soon as he thought about it, he appeared not far from Orochimaru and said with a smile, it's very interesting, it's second Hokage, right? Let me see who is stronger between that guy and the third generation. Come on, let me help you prepare for the battlefield. Saying that, Shi Shangyang made a seal. Shadow clone technique. Bang bang bang. 3 clones appeared, and Shi Shangyang's main body was exactly 4, and then dodged and appeared in the 4 corners around Orochimaru and Sarutobi Hiruzen. 4 red flame formation. The same 4 red flame formation, after Shi Shangyang displayed it, the purple chakra barrier was like a real body. It was supposed to be lavender, but now it shows a kind of black and purple that is almost real. Just looking at the color it makes people feel bad. After doing all this, Shi Shangyang stepped aside and watched the actions of the two in the field from a distance. Around, the ninjas were startled and attacked Shi Shangyang again one by one, but unfortunately, the result was the same as before. Any attack was ineffective for Shi Shangyang. What I have to say is that Uchiha Obito's hollow ability is indeed a bug, and on Shi Shangyang, it is even more of a bug. When Uchiha Obito uses this ability, he can hollow and cancel hollow at any time, and the hollow time is 5 minutes long, but on Shi Shangyang, the world has doubled to 10 minutes. Degree. This is the difference between him and Uchiha Obito. The difference in pupil power level naturally creates the difference in the effect of using the same ability. In short, it is the difference between people. Advertisement, HMPH, old man, the battlefield is already here, are you ready? Orochimaru sneered. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't know why, but looking at the coffin with 2 written on it, he suddenly had a bad premonition in his heart, forcibly pulling his mind away from the reality of his friend's death. He gritted his teeth and clenched the golden hoop to be on guard. Boom! Suddenly, the lid of the coffin fell, revealing the figure inside. He has short gray hair, a mink collar, and blue plate armor, all of which indicate his identity. Sarutobi Hiruzen's pupils shrank, and his lips were trembling slightly. Tobarama sensei. The person in the coffin is second Hokage, Senju Tobarama. Senju Tobarama showed a morbid pallor on his body, and there were crack-like lines on his face. With his eyes closed, he walked out of the coffin step by step, and then stood still. The next moment, Senju Tobarama opened his eyes. The black background of the eyes, the red iris and pupils made him look very strange. Here is... Senju Tobarama was a little confused, and when he saw Sarutobi Hiruzen not far away, he felt even more confused. Tabarama teacher. Sarutobi Hiruzen said, "Are you a monkey?" 3.0 Senju Tobarama was a little weird. "It's me, Tobarama sensei. I didn't expect to see you again at such a time. It's really unpredictable," Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a complicated expression. Senju Tobarama looked down at his hands and immediately understood his current situation. Is it impure world reincarnation? I didn't expect this spell to be used on me, but it doesn't matter, this spell can be removed. But the next moment, Senju Tobarama found that his body could not move, and then a figure came from behind. Nidame, I didn't summon you to let you catch up with the old man, so please start fighting. While speaking, a kunai with a special incantation talisman tied to it was pressed into Senju Hashirama's head by Orochimaru. Is that so? It seems that I can't touch this restriction in my current state. Next, monkey, you have to be careful. Chapter 142 Pure Ninja Fighting, please subscribe. Seeing this scene, Shi Shangyang wanted to give Orochimaru a thumbs up, pull up the grave of his teacher's teacher, then summoning resurrection, and let the teacher fight with the teacher's teacher. How filial is this? Orochimaru withdrew his hand, and the kunai in his hand had been left in Senju Tobarama's filthy head. At this time, Senju Tobarama's eyes had become indifferent, and he had lost his sanity. He looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen as if he was watching a stranger. Sarutobi Hiruzen's expression was very complicated and angry. Orochimaru would wedge the dead, but it was more serious about fighting with the teacher. As a disciple of Senju Tobarama, he is very aware of how strong his teacher is. Even now, he does not have the confidence to defeat his teacher. Orochimaru stepped back, and in that instant, Senju Tobarama moved. Senju Tobarama's knot speed is astonishingly fast and has reached the limit that a ninja can achieve. Compared with his brother Senju Hashirama, he is the purest ninja. At the same time, Sarutobi Hiruzen also began to seal, and his expression was extremely solemn. Water-style Water Dragon Bomb, Earth-style Earth Stream Wall. It is not difficult for a ninja to create water flow in a place without water. It is nothing more than chakra nature transformation, and creating a lot of water flow in a place without water is not something ordinary ninjas can do. What is Senju Tobarama's best skill? Naturally, it is water-style ninjutsu. If he claims to be the second in the ninja world in this regard, no one would dare to say that he is the first in the ninja world, not even Mist Shinobi's Mizukage. Senju Tobarama is a true water-style expert and master in this regard. His Water Dragon Bomb does not spit out water from his mouth, but is formed entirely by the water condensed by the chakra around him. The general water-style ninjutsu is no different, but if you observe carefully, you will find that the color of this water flow is much deeper than ordinary water. Whoa! A stone wall rises from the ground, with a thickness of 3 meters and a height of more than 5 meters, but in the words of Shi Shangyang, the soil flow wall without the dog's head has no soul. But this soulless earth wall still blocked Senju Tobarama's Water Dragon Bomb. The dragon head hit the earth wall, cracking the earth wall in an instant. Under the impact of the violent water flow, the earth wall was peeled off in pieces. After the two sides were deadlocked for a while, the Water Dragon Bomb finally showed a downward trend, but only washed away most of the earth wall. Call out. At this moment, a whistling sound came, and then a figure with a light blue chakra was seen, directly breaking through the remaining water flow, like a cannonball smashing into the water, instantly punching a round hole in the middle of the water flow. He kicked the remaining earth wall. Boom! Everyone present felt a shock under their feet, and then the earth wall cracked in an instant, and it didn't play a blocking role at all. The figure penetrated the earth wall, and continued to charge forward unabated, like a bolt of lightning, heading straight for Sarutobi Hiruzen behind. Advertisement Sarutobi Hiruzen looked dignified, holding the wish-fulfilling stick in front of him. Boom! That figure was naturally Senju Tobarama. After he penetrated the earth wall, he kicked Sarutobi Hiruzen's Vajra Rui stick, and the latter flew backwards uncontrollably, sliding his legs on the ground like a plow. 2 long traces were dragged on the ground. After sliding for more than 10 meters, Sarutobi Hiruzen slammed the Rui stick on the ground behind him and shouted at the same time, "Longer, the Rui stick." Well, the wishful stick gave a full-fledged response, and then the other end of the wishful stick was aimed at Senju Tobarama, which quickly became longer, and shot towards Senju Tobarama like a lacing arrow. Boom! Senju Tobarama, who had not yet landed, was immediately thrown out by the Rui stick. At the same time, Sarutobi Hiruzen finally stopped. At this time, he was less than 2 meters away from the purple barrier of the 4 purple flame array, and his hands trembled and retracted stick. The complexion became more dignified. That kind of power that's even scarier than Tsunade. He knew very well how powerful his teacher was, and even more so, the more his heart sank. Unfortunately, at this time Senju Tobarama has lost his reason, and some are just fighting instinct. Shi Shangyang's eyes were full of brilliance, and he was very interested in Senju Tobarama. Unfortunately, this guy is second Hokage, and his feelings for Konoha can't be replaced, so even if he is jealous, he can't put it down. Guys have always pulled themselves into camp. Otherwise, Senju Tobarama and Orochimaru, coupled with their own wide-eyed vision, what else can the ninja world be unable to do? Such a pity. Thinking of this, Shi Shangyang shook his head helplessly. At this time, the battle in the field has changed again. Sarutobi Hiruzen should have been on the defensive, but he took the initiative to attack, waving a few shuriken. Shuriken Shadow Clone Technique. Call out, call out, call out. The shuriken changed from 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, and in an instant, it became a huge piece, rushing towards Senju Tobarama like a torrential rain. Advertisement Senju Tobarama's response was very simple, only receiving 2 seals. Water-style water barrier, 35 Wo. A circle of water appeared around Senju Tobarama, like a surging wave, wrapping it in it, forming a wall of water. Puff puff puff, those shuriken blasted, and instantly hit the wall of the water flow, and immediately stirred up pieces of water, but they couldn't penetrate it. Water-style water-severing wave. As soon as the handprint changed, Senju Tobarama's chest bulged, and when he opened his mouth, he spit out an extremely thin stream of water. The water flow is like a thin line, but it has unparalleled penetrating power and impact, and instantly hits a circular hole in the water wall in front of him, and then goes unabated, attacking Sarutobi Hiruzen. Sarutobi Hiruzen's face changed, and in front of that stream of water 907 with terrifying cutting force and impact, he only felt horrified. Water-severing wave is a ninjutsu of the forbidden technique level, that kind of super high-pressure water flow. He had seen its power when he was young. In the face of such an attack, he had to either avoid it or block it hard. There was no third way. He wanted to dodge, but it was too late. Every time Senju Tobarama attacked, he had an unparalleled grasp of the timing. He had already calculated his footsteps and movements, and if he wanted to block it, the general ninja simply blocked it. But Sarutobi Hiruzen is also worthy of the title of Doctor of Ninjutsu, and he responded quickly. Good luck, he shouted. Be careful, Hiruzen, replied the ape demon incarnation. Then he saw Sarutobi Hiruzen swinging his wish-fulfilling stick in front of him, spinning like an electric fan. In the next instant, a terrifying current of water hit the Rui stick. Chi-chi-chi. The high-pitched sound was very harsh. The water flow with a terrible cutting force hit the Rui stick, pushing Sarutobi Hiruzen's body back a little bit. A small hole was punched in the ground, and the result was extremely appalling. The battle between the two can be described as the purest ninja battle, and the duel of ninjutsu is extremely exciting. Compared with these two people, the battle between Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara looked like 2 bomb-throwing bear children were fighting, and there was no beauty at all. Chapter 143 The Power of Dr. Ninjutsu. Please subscribe. Senju Hashirama's water-severing wave technique is very scary. In the original plot, it was able to cut off the roots of the god tree, but Sarutobi Hiruzen blocked it with the golden hoop that the ape demon transformed into. This is not to say that Sarutobi Hiruzen is strong, but Senju Tobarama in this state cannot show his true strength at all. At this time, Senju Tobarama has lost his mind. Some are just fighting instincts, and from Shi Shangyang's eyes, it can be found that the materials used as sacrifices for impure world reincarnation are not qualified, and some of them have lowered the overall strength of Senju Tobarama. So even if he is the legendary second Hokage, the strength he shows now is about the same level as Sarutobi Hiruzen. Of course, even at this level, in the ninja world, it is the top existence. In the water with terrible impact and cutting force, it stalemate with the rotating golden hoop for a moment, and then the water column weakened until it finally disappeared. Sarutobi Hiruzen lowered his hands trembling. It is not difficult to see that his hands are full of fine wounds at this time. Almost no intact skin was cut by those splash water during the resistance just now. But in the end, this attack was blocked. However, Senju Tobarama did not intend to give up just like that. Driven by his fighting instinct, Senju Tobarama attacked again. That is, when Sarutobi Hiruzen saw the seal made by Senju Tobarama, he felt a chill in his heart, and without thinking, he stabbed the golden cudgel on the ground. Longer, golden hoop. Call. The golden hoop began to extend immediately, and the body of Sarutobi Hiruzen began to rise upwards. At this moment, Senju Tobarama's art was activated. Water-style big explosive water rush. Boom. When Senju Tobarama opened his mouth and spit it out, it was like the water of the Tianhe River pouring down, and the huge waves were rolling, taking it as a point, and rushing towards the front. The sound of the waves was astonishing and the impact was terrifying, as if they were going to destroy everything along the way, but in the blink of an eye, the water waves had already submerged the 4 purple flame array, and the water level began to rise, and the speed of the rise was astonishing. In the state of dirty soil, Senju Tobarama has unlimited chakra, So this vomit is only 10 seconds, and within these 10 seconds, the water level directly rises by more than 30 meters. From a distance, among the 4 purple flame formations, the water is like an artificial lake on land, which shows the power of this technique. Senju Toburama stands on the water, undulating with the waves. And Sarutobi Hiruzen stood on the top of the golden hoop, not submerged by water, and hurriedly made the seal at this time. Fire-style Fire Dragon Ball technique. Water and fire are incompatible, and Sarutobi Hiruzen's purpose is not to use this technique to hurt Senju Toburama, because he knows that doing so will not cause any loss to the opponent at all. His purpose is to create conditions for his next action. Advertisement: a huge pillar of fire fell from the sky, like a meteor falling to the ground, and smashed towards Senju Toburama. Senju Toburama swayed and evaded, but the real effect of this art was to explode. Boom! The huge fire column exploded and burned instantly, vaporizing the water in a large area, and the steam spread, directly covering the location of Senju Toburama. Seeing this, Sarutobi Hiruzen was overjoyed, and then made the seal again. Fire-style Haoyun technique. Call. If the fire dragon bullet just now was a shooting star, then the flames that the current technique evokes is a liquid-like waterfall, falling from the sky like lava, and rushing towards Senju Toburama's position. Boom! The collision of water and fire suddenly produced a violent explosion, and at the moment of the explosion, a figure suddenly shot out of it. Call out. The figure stepped on the water with both feet, but it was like ice skating. He didn't see any movement, but slid on the water at an extremely fast speed. Not good. 39. Seeing this scene, Sarutobi Hiruzen was shocked. Then Senju Toburama opened his mouth and spat at Sarutobi Hiruzen. Literally, it is really saliva, but the saliva is as sharp as 1,000 books, and it is said to be water, but it is more like a sharp ice needle. Puff, puff, puff. After several muffled sounds, needle-like water rushed towards Sarutobi Hiruzen. Water-style heaven cry. Sarutobi Hiruzen had no choice but to interrupt the technique that was still being performed in advance, turned over, and stepped on the golden hoop to avoid the sharp attacks. Shadow clone technique. Boom, boom, advertisement. Boom. Sarutobi Hiruzen separated 4 clones, jumped from the golden hoop together, and began to seal when he was in the air. Water-style water rush. Earth-style earth dragon bomb. Wind-style cyclone. Lightning-style thunder. 35. Fire-style fire dragon fire bullet. 35. The 4 shadow clones, together with the Sarutobi Hiruzen body, a total of 5 people, launched ninjutsu together at this time. These 5 ninjutsu fell from the air, but they merged together strangely. Thunder and water blended, water and soil blended, soil and soil blended, the wind blends together, and the fire relies on the wind, and the power of the 5 ninjutsu is instantly magnified several times. Ninja Dalian playing technique. Boom boom boom. This is definitely a forbidden technique level ninjutsu, or an extremely complex compound ninjutsu. It fell from the sky and instantly covered Senju Toburama's body, and then fell with a terrible impact, piercing the body of water more than 30 meters deep. Boom. Everyone present felt the ground shaking under their feet. Even Shi Shangyang couldn't help but open his eyes slightly at this moment, and was full of admiration in his heart. As expected of a ninjutsu doctor, this kind of ninjutsu technique and spirituality can be said to be the only one in the entire ninjutsu world. The barrier of the 4 purple flame formation began to flicker, because after the compound ninjutsu penetrated the body of water, it also attacked the barrier. Even if this barrier was displayed by Shi Shangyang, it still appeared under such a terrifying attack. Crack. Finally, the 4 purple flame formation seemed to be unbearable and exploded at a certain moment. In an instant, the waves of water surged towards the surroundings, and all the ninjas around them, without even thinking about it, picked up or carried the wounded and ran. Shi Shangyang led Nuo's Zhao, be submerged by the water, and then jumped to the surface with a slight jump, and bullied him with the waves. The shattering of the 4 purple flame formation did not surprise him, because he did not continuously pour chakra into it. It was inevitable that such a result would occur. The power of the ninjutsu fusion of the 5 escapes was also a bit exaggerated. It's normal to be blown away. At this time, Orochimaru slowly rose from the ground, and his face was not very good looking. Sarutobi Hiruzen during this period can be said to be at the peak of his life. Whether it is experience or chakra, it is the strongest time in his life, and Orochimaru facing Sarutobi Hiruzen during this period, the result is really hard to say. Looking at Senju Toburama's dirt body, it completely disappeared under the attack just now, and it is slowly repairing not far away. Sarutobi Hiruzen fell to the ground, the clones disappeared, he was breathing heavily, looked at Orochimaru with a dignified expression, and said, "Orochimaru, stop being obsessed." Chapter 144 Orochimaru betrays Konoha, for subscription. Heh. As expected of a teacher, under such circumstances, it's surprising how quickly the second generation's purpose-filthy body was defeated. Orochimaru is complimenting, but no matter how you listen to it, there is a kind of yin and yang in it. Shi Shangyang chuckled lightly, and then said to Orochimaru, "Do you want to continue? By the way, have the entire Konoha ninja been attracted by now? In this case, are you sure?" 35. On the surrounding roofs and streets, I don't know how many people are standing densely. Even though Konoha has mobilized most of his strength now, there are still a lot of ninjas left behind in Konoha. Orochimaru wants to shake the entire Konoha with one person, but to be honest, it is still too reluctant, especially his action this time, in Shi Shangyang's opinion, is an impulsive choice, and it is not easy to achieve this step. Now the two of them can be said to be surrounded by Konoha shinobi people. Shi Shangyang is nothing. This place is a place for him to come and go whenever he wants. Even if there are twice as many people, it is fine. But Orochimaru is different. I believe that with the pride of Orochimaru, I can't say the words to ask Shi Shangyang for help now. Sure enough, Orochimaru sneered, then hissed. I've already prepared for this situation, it's no big deal. Saying that, he made a seal with one hand. Sarutobi Hiruzen froze upon seeing this. Old man, don't be nervous, this is the release of that art, 55. Saying that, Senju Tobirama, who had just recovered over there, shook his body, and his eyes returned to clarity. He turned his head and glanced around, frowning when he saw the situation at the scene. Monkey. Sarutobi Hiruzen, with a complicated expression, replied. Tobirama teacher, 39. I'm sorry to have caused you such a big trouble, that kid can't control me anymore, the rest is up to you to solve. As the developer of reanimation jutsu, Senju Tobirama is very aware of the drawbacks of this technique. He has the ability to remove his own dirty state, but that requires control over himself. The method used by Orochimaru to control Senju Tobirama's dirty soil is very simple, just needs enough to suppress his control over himself, so Senju Tobirama couldn't release his control just now. Senju Tobirama glanced at Orochimaru after saying, be careful. This brat is not easy. He found the loophole I deliberately left in reanimation jutsu. If he, beta, summons the big brother, things will be troublesome. Sarutobi Hiruzen took a deep breath and said solemnly, yes, Tobirama-sensei, I will kill him with my own hands. Senju Tobirama asked suspiciously, is that guy also a Konoha ninja? Sarutobi Hiruzen looked ashamed. He is my student Orochimaru, 55. Advertisement Senju Tobirama was expressionless, then looked at Shi Shangyang in the distance and asked, where's that guy? Sarutobi Hiruzen's shame grew even stronger. He's Konoha's ninja. Senju Tobirama's expression became a little weird. They are all enemies of the village? Sarutobi Hiruzen said, they all defected from the village. Senju Tobirama shook his head slightly. Take care of their affairs and don't affect the stability of the village. This is the hard work of my eldest brother and I don't want the village to be destroyed. 99. Rest assured, Teacher Tobirama, I will defend this with my life. 35. At this time, Orochimaru suddenly interjected. Second generation, we will meet again next time. Senju Tobirama's face was cold, and he snorted softly. The next time we meet, you will not be so lucky. HMPH, in order to better control second generation, I specially prepared a poor sacrifice, otherwise, it would be really difficult to control. Orochimaru laughed. Senju Tobirama glanced at Orochimaru. You know, if it's my heyday, it won't take too much effort to pinch you to death. It's really scary. Senju Tobirama glanced at Shi Shangyang again, as if he wanted to say something, but his body began to collapse. It's time for this sacrifice, monkey, take care of Konoha. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked complicated and nodded solemnly. After a while, Senju Tobirama turned into a piece of fly ash, leaving only the corpse of a ninja with an open mouth and white eyes. Shi Shangyang will also reanimation jutsu, seeing it and understand the original. Orochimaru was right. The quality of the sacrifice he prepared is not strong. It affects the state of Senju Tobirama's dirty soil. Plus Orochimaru specially prepared a good spell can control Senju Tobirama. Otherwise, Senju Tobirama will release others' control of his dirty body on the spot. Yang-kun, let's go, Orochimaru said. Shi Shangyang's expression was a bit strange when he heard the words. He shook his head slightly and said, what is the meaning of this battle? It's an anticlimactic. Orochimaru added his lower lip and chuckled. Just to let my teacher see if I meet his expectations, and now it seems that the old man is very satisfied. 35. How can you tell he is satisfied? Advertisement didn't get mad at him. You are really filial. Shi Shangyang restrained his desire to complain, looked at the sky again, and found that the sun has not yet set, and there is still some time before he and Hyuga Naoto agreed, and said, forget it, it's your own business anyway, think about it. If you leave, you can go first, I still have something to deal with, don't forget to meet at the agreed place. 39. Don't try to go. 35. When a ninja saw this, he immediately shouted angrily. Orochimaru, don't think you can leave so easily. 99. Yes, catch him, and that Uchiha kid. 35. Sarutobi Hiruzen hadn't spoken yet, but the Konoha shinobi who heard the conversation between the two couldn't bear it. The two made a mess of Konoha, and now they want to leave. Orochimaru, why? Sarutobi Hiruzen said suddenly. Hearing this, Orochimaru just chuckled and said nothing, then he bit his finger and pressed his hand to the ground. Boom! Orochimaru turned into white smoke and disappeared. It is the reverse summoning technique. Seeing this, Shi Shangyang shook his head slightly. He didn't understand Orochimaru's brain circuit. He said he would fight, and he would leave without any reason. He scratched his head when he did it. Is it really a good thing to have such a partner? It seems that Orochimaru will have to tune in well in the future, otherwise he will be cleaned up sooner or later if he continues to be so self-willed. Well, the guy with a bad mind is gone. Everyone, if it's okay, You don't need to be around here anymore. I still have something to do, so I'll take a step first. Sarutobi Hiruzen's expression changed, and without any hesitation, he rushed towards Shi Shangyang. Unfortunately, he seems to have forgotten that such an attack has no effect on Shi Shangyang. I saw Sarutobi Hiruzen pass through Shi Shangyang's body, while Shi Shangyang slowly sank into the ground. Before completely submerging into the ground, he glanced in one direction and smiled there. On a roof in that direction, Uchiha Fugaku, the head of the Uchiha clan, was standing with the members of the guard team, looking at Shi Shangyang with a complicated look. Chapter 145 made a big move. Please subscribe. During the battle just now, Uchiha Fugaku had already arrived early, but when he saw clearly that one of the enemies in the field was Shi Shangyang, he did not choose to shoot. Uchiha Fugaku did not restrict other Uchihas from doing things, but he chose to stand by, as if to show his attitude to Shi Shangyang. In the past, Uchiha Fugaku would definitely not choose to stand by in this kind of thing, but now facing the Shi Shangyang, will let him have a kind of pressure. This kind of pressure is very strange. It stands to reason that as the patriarch of the Uchiha family, he should not have this feeling when facing a person with Uchiha blood, but every time I think of what Shi Shangyang said to him at the beginning, and Shi Shangyang's betrayal, Konoha's actions made him feel that all this might have been planned by Shi Shangyang. In the past, I just thought about it, but today, after meeting Shi Shangyang, I made him confirm his guess. Sure enough, what Shi Shangyang said to himself at the beginning, his actions of betraying Konoha later, and his actions today, all show that all this was planned long ago. So, what he said to himself at the beginning must have been planned, right? Thinking of this, Uchiha Fugaku's feelings are a lot more complicated. Although the relationship between the village and Uchiha has eased because of the war, he is very clear that this relaxation will also end because of the war. From the day he became the patriarch, it was clear that the conflict between Uchiha and the village was almost irreconcilable. The pride and resentment in the clansmen made him feel like he was being put on the stove, and he wanted to forcefully suppress it, but he also knew the consequences of doing so were unbearable for him and the village. In fact, Uchiha Fugaku also thought about rebelling against Konoha. No, to be precise, it is to seize the highest power of Konoha, but it is more clear that if you do that, Uchiha will be unable to move an inch in Konoha, and the consequence may even be that Uchiha will be destroyed. Until Shi Shangyang's appearance, Shi Shangyang's remarks still sprouted in his heart. Yeah, why not give Uchiha more a back way and a choice? It was because of this idea that he didn't do it himself. Looking at the devastated scene, Uchiha Fugaku felt a sense of fear in his heart. He only felt that he might have let Uchiha go on the line of life and death just now. If he had just acted on it, would Shi Shangyang have a bad feeling towards Uchiha? Come. Advertisement. If Shi Shangyang knew what he was thinking, he would definitely think that this guy thought too much, and he didn't have that much thought. When he told him that, he just thought that the power of Uchiha could be used. Otherwise, there would be no meeting between him and Uchiha Shisui. Not to mention Uchiha Fugaku's inner thoughts, the Konoha shinobi fans in the scene were full of unwillingness and anger, especially after Shi Shangyang left Shi Shirin in their eyes, which made them even more unacceptable. After Orochimaru left, Sarutobi Hiruzen seemed to have aged a dozen years, and his whole body was taken away a lot, and he was going to be a little rickety. Lord Hokage, what should I do now? A ninja asked. This question awakened Sarutobi Hiruzen. He took a deep breath, looked solemn, and said solemnly, notify the medical team to treat the wounded, and assign people to help them gather them. In addition, Anbu organized martial law in the whole village. I suspect that Shi Shangyang has other people, plan. Yes. And the order was issued, and everyone started to act as if they had the backbone all of a sudden. What happened today is the first time since the establishment of Konoha. Even in the most difficult time of Konoha in the past, it has never been as powerless as it is today. The feeling of being played by the enemy makes people feel very powerless. People who are present with this feeling definitely don't want to try it a second time. But they would never have guessed that Shi Shangyang did not leave Konoha at this time. After leaving the underground, Shi Shangyang did not go anywhere else, but went directly to the Hyuga family. After the movement at Konoha Hokage building, the whole village is now very vigilant. But this can't be beat Shi Shangyang. He hides his own breath very well, and he didn't show up directly. He hid in the dark, directly controlled a member of Hyuga branch house through illusion, and found Naoto Hyuga, who was busy. At this time, now Hyuga, like other Hyuga tribesmen, was busy patrolling, defending and investigating. After being found by members of the branch house controlled by Shi Shangyang, he was almost scared to death. For flowers. 0 advertisement, the leader ordered to complete the task as soon as possible. The members of the branch house passed by him, and then left directly. Their behavior was very normal, and they did not arouse suspicion from other people at all. But these words fell in the ears of Hyuga Naoto, but it almost made his heart skip a beat. After the controlled branch house member left, Hyuga Naoto let out a long sigh, and then activated his white eyes to carefully observe the next surroundings, to ensure that his actions did not fall into the eyes of others, and hurried to the next place. He was using the pretext of patrolling to complete what Shi Shangyang had arranged, and now the personnel contact was halfway through. After hearing Shi Shangyang's order, he knew that he had to speed up. Point 0. He gave orders to Naoto Hyuga because he didn't want to be delayed because of the previous battle. Anyway, he had a way to take those people from the Hyuga branch house directly, Just wait for Naoto Hyuga to inform him. Please subscribe. Only. At this time, Shi Shangyang was waiting quietly in a wood outside the Hyuga clan. He was not in a hurry at all. Anyway, the task of coming here today has been half completed, and the rest of taking the Hyuga clan is not very important. Anxious. Shi Shangyang stretched and stood on the canopy of a tree watching quietly, with an inexplicable smile on his face. Shi Shangyang would like to see what he can do with his own vision combined with Orochimaru's ability. After this time, there will be more people available, and I will be able to do some research that I want to do in my spare time. Just in time, there was a movement from the special Kanai who stayed on Naoto Hyuga's side. Shi Shangyang's mouth turned up, and the figure disappeared in place. Time passed while waiting, and soon night fell, but Konoha was still brightly lit. There were not many people on the street, but there were a lot of ninjas coming and going. It can be seen that the impact of the events during the day has not ended. By the way, the old man third Hokage, if he knew that he had taken so many Hyuga branch houses, he would probably vomit blood in anger. Well, it is hard to say whether he vomited or not, and the guard dogs of the Hyuga clan would definitely be scared to death. This can be considered as making a big move. Chapter 146 Hyuga Branch House Evacuation. Please subscribe. Hyuga tribe, in a house in the branch house, Hyuga Naoto was walking around anxiously, his forehead was faintly sweaty, and his face was not very good looking. The task that Shi Shangyang gave him, he has completed, and now is anxiously waiting for Shi Shangyang's response. But no matter how he thought about it, as long as he thought that after today, he would betray the Hyuga clan, he felt a little uneasy in his heart. He is very aware of the strength of the Hyuga clan. The strict rules for hundreds of years have been integrated into the genes of almost every clan. In the past, it was not that the branch house had resisted, but every time he resisted, even if he showed his unhappiness towards the clan, he would severely punished. In this regard, Hyuga Naoto has suffered a lot. He can almost be regarded as the most restless one in the clan of the branch house clan, so almost every clan member has a reason to punish him. It was also because of 907 that the anger that had been suffocating in his heart for more than 10 years was vented at this moment, but when it came, he was a little uneasy. Naoto, don't worry, no matter what you do, I will be by your side. Hyuga Noriko comforted softly. Hearing this, Hyuga Naoto took a deep breath and held Noriko's hand tightly, his face full of determination. Don't worry, from now on, we will be free, and we will no longer have to be controlled by those bastards of the clan. You will be no more worrying about me being punished by those bastards. I believe you. Hyuga Noriko is a very traditional Hyuga branch house woman. If a girl like her does not have a good ninja talent, then the only effect on the family is to marry a Hyuga clan, and then continue the bloodline. The Hyuga family does not prohibit marrying women with foreign surnames, but it is strictly forbidden for women in the group to marry outsiders, which is an absolute taboo in the Hyuga family. Hyuga Noriko and Hyuga Naoto are childhood sweethearts who have grown up together since childhood. The relationship between the two is very good, but they are both worried that when they reach the age where they can marry, they will be arranged by the family to live a life with someone they don't like. This is also the reason why Hyuga Noriko supports Hyuga Naoto so much. At the same time, Hyuga Naoto is also because of this, that he wants to be the true master of his own destiny and is no longer bound by such a family. While waiting anxiously, a person suddenly appeared beside the two. Ahem, didn't I come at the right time? Will it bother you? Shi Shangyang asked in confusion. There was no other reason, maybe the emotion was in place. The two leaned together holding hands, and Shi Shangyang suffered a ton of critical blows as soon as he appeared. The two were startled by Shi Shangyang's voice and hurriedly separated. Hyuga strayed down on one knee and said, "My lord, it has been dealt with, and all the people have been marked by me." Shi Shangyang glanced at the blushing Hyuga Noriko, nodded slightly and said, "Okay, let's start." Naoto Hyuga showed an uplifting look and hurriedly asked, "Sir, what should I do?" Shi Shangyang said, "You don't do anything, just watch." Advertisement. After saying this, Shi Shangyang made a seal on his hands. Multiple shadow clone technique, bang bang bang. Boom. Bang bang bang. Boom. Among the series of crisp sounds, clusters of white smoke appeared. When the smoke dispersed, the small room was densely filled with people. Hyuga Nao and Hyuga Noriko were startled, because there were too many people. They hugged each other subconsciously. Shi Shangyang just pretended he didn't see it. He took out a scroll from his arms, and Yuyin untied the scroll, and with a bang, there was a big jar in his hand. Come, one for each person, remember to take it for everyone who is marked. There are small boxes in the jar, and in the box are red pills, which are drugs developed by him using Yangdun chakra and white Zetsu cells, which are specially used to inhibit caged bird chakra. This thing doesn't do anything to disarm curse mark, caged bird, but it can temporarily weaken the chakra connection of caged bird to the brain. People will not feel much pain, at most they will only feel a very mild condition similar to a cold and headache. Soon, these medicines were distributed, and Shi Shangyang said to his clones, "Go ahead, take away those who are marked." The clones didn't talk nonsense, nodded slightly, and then disappeared instantly. Saw, one by one, the clones disappeared, and the room was empty again in a blink of an eye. Hyuga Naoto seemed to have thought of something, and subconsciously swallowed his saliva. Big, sire, is that Flying Thunder God technique? Advertisement. Shi Shangyang was a little surprised. You also know Flying Thunder God technique? Hyuga Naoto nodded hurriedly. Of course, that is the ninjutsu developed by the second generation, of course I know. Want to learn? Shi Shangyang chuckled. Can you? There is nothing wrong with this, as long as you have the talent in this area, you can learn from me and teach you when the time comes, he said. Is this true? 35. Shi Shangyang just shrugged. Where do you think I'm going to take you? In my territory, as long as you have the ability, identify with my ideas, and identify with your own companions, no one will limit you, especially knowledge. In this regard, the more you know, the happier I will be, so don't worry. 5. Hyuga Naoto took a deep breath, and Hyuga and Riko looked at each other, and they could see the joy in each other's eyes. Yes, my lord, I will definitely not let you down, Hyuga Naoto replied. Shi Shangyang chuckled and said to the two, I don't have much to give birth, don't worry about the rest, I'll take you two away first. Naoto Hyuga took a deep breath and nodded. Shi Shangyang stepped forward, put his hand on the shoulders of the two, and then the three figures disappeared instantly. That night, the Hyuga family was quiet, and no one noticed that a lot of people in their family had disappeared tonight, and everyone, regardless of gender, age, or child, was a member of the 3.0 branch house. This situation did not last until the next day. When it was discovered, it immediately triggered a big earthquake for the entire Hyuga clan. Before that, when the action started, Shi Shangyang had already brought Hyuga Nao and Hyuga Noriko to a mountain pass dozens of miles away from Konoha. This is the place he and Orochimaru agreed in advance, and now Orochimaru is waiting here early. You're a little late, kid. Orochimaru added his lower lip as he spoke, and the image was evil no matter what. Shi Shangyang pouted and said, if you didn't toss in Konoha, we would have arrived long ago. He. Why did I do this, can't you see it? Orochimaru sneered. Shi Shangyang rolled his eyes and ignored him. Chapter 147. Shi Shangyang's Promise. Please subscribe. In fact, Shi Shangyang knew why Orochimaru did this. On the one hand, he wants to vent the grievances he has suffered in Konoha over the years. He is a man of merit who has fought and fought several times. If it weren't for his desperate efforts, Konoha would not be in the current situation. At that time, Orochimaru had a cold personality, but his feelings for Konoha were real, and he also had a dream of becoming a Hokage. But that kind of dream was hit by reality again and again, so that in the end he saw through a lot of things, and he no longer had excessive expectations for rights, but gradually because of the death of the battlefield Genin, he had a new understanding of life. Orochimaru is a genius, he is very confident in himself, and he is very afraid of life, and in this case, he gradually has the idea of wanting to live longer. Of course, this kind of thinking did not come in a day or two, but was determined by the experience of childhood and the outlook on life formed by many thoughts, so when he knew that he was not eligible for the position of Hokage, he put his own all my thoughts are on how to make myself live longer. He began to pursue immortality, and while he was afraid of life, he also began to ignore life. In his opinion, life was too fragile, to the point that sometimes he could kill a person with just a flick of a finger. Since then, human life has become a tool in his hands and a tool to realize his dream. And just at this time, Shi Shangyang came over and used Sharingan's ability to directly defeat his confidence in his own ability. At that moment, Orochimaru found that he had been living at a loss for so many years, even if he pursued immortality, it seemed that not so absolute anymore. He began to yearn for power, because Orochimaru knew at that moment that life without power was the most vulnerable, just like those he had killed so easily in the past. It was Sharingan who gave Orochimaru a serious mental injury, but Shi Shangyang handed Sharingan to him easily. This is a kind of self-confidence in his own strength, and it is also telling Orochimaru, Sharingan is just, to Shi Shangyang say nothing at all. Since then, Orochimaru has known that this kid is not easy, and to cooperate with him, it is best to gain the trust of the other party. Then, there is today. In Shi Shangyang's view, what Orochimaru did these things was not only to vent his grievances, but also to show his attitude to his collaborator, which was a form of vote. It's a pity that Orochimaru's character is doomed that he doesn't say this kind of thing, and he is a little bad at words, but chooses the most direct method to express this attitude. He's quite a simple man. Advertisement. Thinking of this, Shi Shangyang wanted to laugh a little. By the way, what about your people? Don't tell me that you have been operating in Konoha for so long, and you don't even have a confidant, Shi Shangyang asked. Orochimaru added another lip and said, I let them hide in Konoha shinobi, do you need a manpower? Shi Shangyang said as a matter of course, tell them, don't let them hide, just go to you directly. Aren't you afraid of leaking the news? Orochimaru smiled grimly. Shi Shangyang pouted. Will you speak out? Of course I won't, but my men are not very smart, Orochimaru said. Shi Shangyang rolled his eyes angrily. Is there something wrong with your definition of a smart person? Or, are all the people you choose have no brains? If you don't talk nonsense, they will always be there? Orochimaru snorted and said nothing more. Shi Shangyang said, anyway, I didn't plan to hide for too long. When I have enough strength, even if I find it, it will be fine. I will ask your people to find you later. I am short of manpower. While speaking, several figures suddenly appeared in front of them. A clone of Shi Shangyang appeared in front of several people with a family of 4. The 4 members of the Hyuga branch house, a man and a woman, plus 2 little girls who were not too old, were looking around blankly. When they saw Shi Shangyang and Orochimaru, the two colors suddenly changed. Go up and calm down, Shi Shangyang said straight to Hyuga. The latter hurried forward to explain the situation. After that, more and more people from the Hyuga branch house were brought over by Shi Shangyang's clone. Gradually, Shi Shangyang was surrounded by people. Advertisement. After a while, Shi Shangyang asked, "Is everyone here?" Hyuga Naruto counted the number of people and hurriedly said, "It's all here, 183 people is a lot, 35. There were nearly 200 people at the scene, most of them with an uneasy look. They were the family members of the companions that Hyuga Naruto contacted, and although they were looking forward to the sudden departure of the Hyuga family, they actually did it. After that, I couldn't help but feel apprehensive. It is really the rules of the Hyuga family, which has penetrated into their bones, and even if they have the assurance of Hyuga Naruto, they are still a little uneasy." Seeing this scene, Orochimaru opened his mouth and smiled, not knowing what this guy thought. Shi Shangyang coughed, attracting everyone's attention. "Everyone, my name is Shi Shangyang, and I will be your leader from now on. Naruto should have told you about it. The next place you will go is the land of Tien, where I built a village, and you will be there in the future. Living on the side is a clean break from the previous life. 35. You didn't tell me about it," he said. When Shi Shangyang spoke, he deliberately used a little momentum, which made people feel a kind of pressure that was not too heavy, but with this pressure, Shi Shangyang's words became more weighty. His words are still effective, and Orochimaru's prestige in the village is not low. After hearing Shi Shangyang's words and seeing Orochimaru again, many people are relieved. "I know what you're afraid of, but don't worry, curse mark. Caged bird can be unlocked. I can assure you, see this one next to me? He's 920 Orochimaru, one of the Sanins. Later, I will work with him to start the crack research work on curse mark. Caged bird, and I believe that it will not be long before you can live freely." It's just that Shi Shangyang said that he should study Orochimaru of Caged Bird first, and his face is not very good at the moment. With so many people, it is impossible not to be comforted, especially if you are going to face an unfamiliar environment next. Think about it from a different perspective, and everyone will be a little uneasy. Please subscribe. Shi Shangyang shrugged. It's just a curse mark. Caged Bird, it's just for you to practice your hands, and when you thoroughly understand Caged Bird, it will definitely help you develop immortality ninjutsu. Okay, I won't say too much nonsense. You walked in a hurry, and you didn't bring anything with you, but don't worry, I have prepared a place for you there. After you settle down, you can use your own hands to fight for it. The life you want, then everyone, if you're ready, we'll go. Chapter 148 Admonition to Orochimaru, please subscribe. This time, Shi Shangyang did not choose to directly use the Flying Thunder God technique to take everyone away, but took them to stay in the mountain for one night, and in the early morning, he separated again and launched the Flying Thunder God technique. With a group of people back to Tien village. At this time, the sky is falling, and in the beautiful morning light, Tien Jikun is like a young child who has just woken up, showing childishness and vigor in the eyes of everyone in Hyuga branch house. This is what they are looking forward to, a world of their own, without the oppression of the clan, and without the kind of fearful and cautious life every day. Some are just the expectation and yearning for a better life in the future. The reason why Shi Shangyang did this was to deepen their impression of Tien Jikun. After a restless night of waiting, seeing such a scene that met expectations would magnify their inner yearning for beauty, and naturally let go they have more recognition here. As for the cards that these people exploded under the agitation, Shi Shangyang was naturally dispensable, especially since most of these cards were white and blue cards with strange names. For example, the ability to arrange flowers, make tea, and cook rice. Shi Shangyang doubts whether these Hyuga branch houses are fully equipped with life skills. Of course, there are also abilities such as Gentle Fist, but most of them are the basis of Gentle Fist such as 2 fists, 4 fists, and 8 fists. For Shi Shangyang, it can only be regarded as a little more understanding of Gentle Fist. "How is it, are you still satisfied?" Shi Shangyang asked Orochimaru next to him. "Daj." Orochimaru chuckled and looked at it for a moment before saying, "I hope this is what you said." Shi Shangyang smiled and said, "Of course, you will know the benefits of this place in the future, let's go." White Zetsu got the news ahead of time, and has already brought people to wait at the entrance of the village. Now TNG village has a good foundation. The size of the village has expanded by at least 3 times compared with the past. It can no longer be called a small town, but gradually a little bit of a city look. These are the people of the Hyuga family, you and everyone, take them down. Naruto, you are here to help, and come to me when you are settled back. Shi Shangyang ordered. "Okay, Lord Chief." White Zetsu replied. "Yes, my lord." Naruto also hurriedly responded. Advertisement Orochimaru kept his eyes on White Zetsu ever since he saw him disappear, and his eyes narrowed slightly when he saw him leave. Seeing these people from the Hyuga branch house leave with curiosity and anxiety, Shi Shangyang retracted his gaze and asked with a half smile, "What's the matter, are you interested in that guy?" Orochimaru added his lower lip and grinned. "That guy, I feel weird and doesn't look like a normal person." "Ha ha." Shi Shangyang chuckled lightly and then said, "You read that right, that guy is indeed not a normal person. Strictly speaking, he is not a human being, he should be a human puppet." "Human puppet?" Orochimaru's eyes flashed. Shi Shangyang nodded. I remodeled it with the Sand Shinobi Puppet Forbidden technique. The material is a special living body called White Zetsu. I will tell you the specifics after the laboratory. Then he patted Orochimaru on the shoulder. Let's go. The two came to the underground base in the village after a while. The underground space has also been expanded, and Shi Shangyang intends to hand over a part of it to Orochimaru for use. This guy is very like a snake, and the arrangement of the laboratory underground is also in line with this guy's personality. Sure enough, after seeing the prepared laboratory, Orochimaru smiled. How is it? Are you still satisfied? The underground base will be expanded further. You can say what you have to say. You will be responsible for the underground base in the future. Shi Shangyang asked. Orochimaru nodded, then said, yes, as long as no one disturbs me. Shi Shangyang said, no one will disturb you here, don't worry, just come with me and show you something. He brought Orochimaru to a laboratory. There were many glassware on the test bench in the laboratory, all of which contained a small piece of flesh and blood, creeping slowly. This is advertisement at a glance. Orochimaru's eyes widened. The corners of Shi Shangyang's mouth twitched. This is the surprise I prepared for you. It seems that you like it very much. You can study this thing first. Maybe it will have a good effect on the technique you want to develop. Orochimaru ignored Shi Shangyang's words, and observed a piece of flesh and blood under a microscope, and the more he looked, the more surprised he became. What is this? Why do cells exhibit that trait? Orochimaru couldn't wait to know the answer. It was the first time he had encountered such a situation. For a researcher like him, this kind of thing was like a demon who saw a stick, and a man who had been poor for half his life fell into admiral. Shi Shangyang didn't hide it, and said directly, this is the tissue sample I took from Mie. You have seen it. The characteristics of these tissue samples are that they have strong vitality. Thinking about it, this should be what you need. Orochimaru's eyes flashed, and he was already thinking about how to get more tissue samples. I advise you to dispel this thought. 35 Shi Shangyang saw through Orochimaru's thoughts at a glance, and sneered. Mie is not as weak as you think, and, strictly speaking, you and Mie are companions. You can do anything here, but there is one taboo, that is don't hurt your partner. When he said this, Shi Shangyang's expression was very serious, but he knew Orochimaru. This guy's character is like this. In order to achieve his goals, he can basically say that he is unscrupulous, which is very suitable for the dark side of ninjas in this world. Orochimaru added a snakehead and said with a grin, of course, since it is Yongkun's order, I will naturally obey it. Shi Shangyang said. Promised. I hope you can keep this sentence in your heart and not take it lightly. If you need more tissue samples, you can discuss with Mo yourself. Instead of going through various conspiracy means to achieve the goal, it is better to be honest from the beginning. No one in my place will care what your research is, and no one will covet your research, even if it is me. I will only use a transaction from you. Get what I need, get it. Orochimaru smiled even more when he heard the words. He glanced at the tissue samples on the test bench, and then said, of course, I will remember your words, Yong-kun. Shi Shangyang nodded slightly when he heard the words. I hope you remember what you said, it is a warning, and I will only say this kind of words once, because the next time is when you die. Orochimaru's smile narrowed, he felt a huge threat from Shi Shangyang's body, which made his heart palpitate. Chapter 149 Ninjas are the force that drives the progress of the world, please subscribe. Just like that, the people from the Hyuga branch house settled in Tien village and came to a strange place. They always need time to get familiar with them, and what they need most now is time. No one here will control them with curse mark. Caged bird, although the caged bird on their forehead needs to be solved urgently, but it is only a matter of time. Shi Shangyang has already solved curse mark. Caged bird is his first and Orochimaru research topic. Compared with fighting and killing, Shi Shangyang actually prefers this process of exploring the unknown. Except for his ambition, Orochimaru really has nothing else to say. In terms of research, he definitely deserves the title of a genius, but only in some places. Shi Shangyang wanted to complain. For no other reason, Orochimaru's experiments are too rough in Shi Shangyang's view, and they are not as refined and cautious as scientific research. This guy started the experiment after he had an idea. The experiment was completely based on feeling. He thought it was right to do so, and he would always find a way to go down this road without a detailed plan at all. Maybe this is because Orochimaru has only started researching for a long time, and he has not much experience in this area. There is no experience summary of many years of experiments like in the original plot. In short, Shi Shangyang directly came up with a set of experimental specifications. The detailed description immediately opened Orochimaru's eyes. 920. What Shi Shangyang told was not complicated, but set the operation steps and specifications for various experimental studies, especially focusing on data preservation and analysis, which made Orochimaru fully understand the importance of this aspect, and let him know that light talent and inspiration don't last long. Orochimaru accepted this easily. After all, this was an advanced experience from another world, and Orochimaru also knew the truth of it. With the cooperation of the two, the research on caged bird soon came to fruition. Building on Shi Shangyang's original research on curse mark, caged bird, the pair soon developed a drug that weakens the chakra connection in the brains of curse mark. Caged bird in Hyuga branch house. This drug needs to be taken every day, and the effect is to eliminate a little curse mark. Caged bird is connected to the chakra of the brain. The process is very gentle, and it will not have any damage or impact on the brain under the drop of water, and the safety can be guaranteed. With the drug given when they brought these people back, the two effects of inhibition and weakening work together. I believe that it will not be long before the curse mark. Caged bird of these Hyuga branch houses can be weakened to the point where even the clan is standing in front of them. Initiating punishment will not be too painful, but this is still not what Shi Shangyang wants. Since it is research, it is natural to solve the problem completely. Fortunately, the people in Hyuga branch house are very cooperative in this regard. These people do not want to break away from caged bird's control all the time, so in this regard there was a huge burst of enthusiasm, and he didn't care about being the subject of the experiment at all. Advertisement according to Orochimaru's previous experimental ideas, these people don't know how many people will die, but this kind of experiment has always been led by Shi Shangyang. In his concept, the experiment must be absolutely safe. If it can't be done, it means that the experimental conditions are not yet mature. For Orochimaru, he will use human life to find the answer to the experiment. This is the most essential difference in philosophy between him and Shi Shangyang, but fortunately, it is only a difference, not a conflict of ideas, so in Shi Shangyang's request, Orochimaru will naturally made it as requested by Shi Shangyang. Through experiments, the two gradually advanced the understanding and research of curse mark, caged bird, and at the same time deepened the progress of the research little by little, and achieved quite good results. Curse mark. Caged bird was developed by people. As long as it is made by people, through reverse research, we can always find clues. Shi Shangyang and Orochimaru are the top powerhouses in the ninja world, and Shi Shangyang is even more it is because he has a vision that people in this world do not have, and under the circumstance of analogy, it is really nothing to achieve good research results. In about half a month, Shi Shangyang came up with the research results. A technique he co-developed with Orochimaru, called reverse caged bird sealing technique, is used to seal any negative effects of curse mark, caged bird. Yes, it is the seal, not the release, because this, beta, is the safest method Shi Shangyang can find. As I said before, the caged bird art is irreversible, and anyone who wants to destroy the curse mark, caged bird the means will be destroyed together with the brain of the caster. So in this case, the only way is to seal. The seal, on the other hand, addresses any negative side effects of curse mark, caged bird, such as the lack of an angled view from the back of the head. Of course, since it is a seal, there will naturally be a risk of being unlocked, but this risk is not serious. But don't forget, Shi Shangyang and Orochimaru have also developed a drug specially designed to weaken the effect of curse mark, caged bird. There is an inverse caged bird sealing curse technique, and when combined with this drug, it will be extremely effective in removing curse mark, caged bird. Good results, but it takes a certain amount of time. According to Shi Shangyang's estimation, the slowest time is only about half a year depending on the individual's physique. Half a year is nothing to a person, unless they are in their 70s and 80s, but there are no people of that age in TNG village. Most of the Hyuga branch house people who come to TNG village are adults and children, and time is not at all. Question. Advertisement. So at this stage, the problem of curse mark, caged bird is basically solved. Orochimaru breathed a sigh of relief. He could finally start researching the White Zetsu flesh killing organization, which he had been looking forward to for a long time. But he did not expect that Shi Shangyang immediately arranged a second topic for him. What is a self-molding puppet? Orochimaru frowned oddly. It's been half a month, and I finally managed to get a project done. I want to devote myself to the field of my interest immediately, but I can't do it now. It will be uncomfortable for anyone, let alone Orochimaru. People. Please subscribe. Oh, of course ninjas are tools, Orochimaru said. Shi Shangyang looked at him with a foolish look. Let me ask you first, what is a ninja? What's the use of such a thing? Orochimaru expressed incomprehension. Shi Shangyang now looks at Orochimaru as if he is looking at an idiot, and Orochimaru is very unconvinced. Ninjas are people who master the means of production. They have never been tools. Are you a tool? Do you think I look like a tool? And what I want to make now is strictly a real tool. Ninjas should never be regarded as tools, they should be the force that drives the progress of this world, understand? Orochimaru said he didn't understand, but decided to follow the arrangement this time for no other reason, just because Shi Shangyang said that ninjas are the force that promotes the progress of the world. Shi Shangyang explained. I wanted to create a type of puppet that could be used for fighting or as an assistant, with a certain ability to think. At the same time, Konoha, Hyuga kept delay for almost half a month, and it finally exploded at this time. Chapter 150 Hyuga Clan Sitting Wax, for subscription. Konoha has not been very calm recently. Orochimaru's betrayal of the village has brought a lot of damage to Konoha. This damage is not a material loss, but a spiritual damage to the village ninjas and ordinary people. They would never have thought that Orochimaru, one of the Sanins, would betray the village. The ninja who made great achievements for the village in the Second Ninja War would have such a day, which made the people in the village a little bit cannot accept. You must know that Orochimaru's reputation among Konoha is not small, and there are many supporters. The more such people do this kind of thing, the greater the damage to the village. Third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen has aged quite a bit since that day. Every day he is smoking a pipe and holding his hands behind his back. He can no longer see a bit of the old ninja attitude. It seems that he has entered old age. Period. Not surprisingly, Shimura Danzo, who had only returned to the village not long ago, immediately started his own plan after learning about this. He had already had the idea of replacing Hokage from a long time ago. This has almost become an obsession of Shimura Danzo. From a young age to now, whenever he thinks of the words that his teacher Senju Tobirama asked, but he didn't stand up for the first time, he is extremely unwilling, and it is precisely because of this. He always felt, bowing his head in front of Sarutobi Hiruzen. Because the war is still going on, the daimyo of the Country of Fire is also under a lot of pressure. Konoha almost competes with the other 4 big ninja villages with the strength of one village, which is very important for the finance of the Country of Fire. Serious. Although the current situation is not too bad, daimyo of the Kingdom of Fire wanted to end the war a long time ago, but now Orochimaru's sudden defection has made daimyo of the Kingdom of Fire have bad thoughts. Under one country and one village, the daimyo is more of a fun provider. Ninja village is responsible for the security of the daimyo. This is true for several major countries, but now the daimyo of the Country of Fire feels that because of Orochimaru's defection, Konoha was in turmoil, so he gathered his nobles and third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen to discuss a countermeasure. And Shimura Danzo, who is Shadow of Darkness, was naturally invited. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he did something similar to the original plot and attacked Sarutobi Hiruzen in front of the daimyo. Sarutobi Hiruzen actually had the idea of resigning from the Hokage position after he defected through Orochimaru, but he knew his old friend very well, knew who he was, and knew that if the Hokage position was handed over to him, he would have no problem with Konoha. It's definitely not a good thing to say, just because Shimura Danzo's ideas are too extreme, which is not conducive to Konoha's future development. Advertisement in Sarutobi Hiruzen's mind, there was actually already a candidate, so he did not hesitate to recommend his chosen target, Konoha's Golden Glitter Namikaze Minato. Coincidentally, as a support ninja on various fronts of Konoha, Namikaze Minato has just cooperated with the Cloud Shinobi frontline colleagues to repel a wave of Cloud Shinobi attacks, and return to the Rock Shinobi frontline as soon as possible. There, they completed the task left by the damage of their team members, and took Hitaki Kakashi to destroy the Kanabi Bridge. This move directly cut off Rock Shinobi's logistical route, which caused a huge blow to Rock Shinobi's offensive, and instantly reversed the situation of Rock Shinobi's front line. In addition, Konoha has signed an agreement with Sand Shinobi, and now Konoha has signed an agreement with Sand Shinobi. Yi's situation suddenly became clear. Carrying the power of victory, as well as the prestige of the Golden Glitter in the ninja world, and the reputation among the village ninjas, the Fire Country daimyo agreed without hesitation. This time, Shimura Danzo was naturally extremely disappointed and extremely unwilling, but what the daimyo had already decided, even he couldn't change it. Although the daimyo cannot intervene in the internal affairs of Ninja Village, if the newly nominated Hokage is not supported by the daimyo, the future development of Konoha will definitely be affected, and with the support of the daimyo, then the position of Hokage is justified. At one point, Shimura Danzo couldn't change it either. Gold Glitter Namikaze Minato was quick to hear the news, and took Hitaki Kakashi back from the front line, counted as a trim, while also preparing to take over Hokage's place. Everything went well, because it was a time of war, and Konoha needed this move to boost the confidence of the villagers and ninjas. No doubt Namikaze Minato became Hokage, and everyone would be convinced. Everyone has reason to believe that the ninja is at its peak. Namikaze Minato, the one who led Konoha out of the quagmire of war. So Namikaze Minato soon succeeded Hokage as Konoha's 4th Hokage. But neither the 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen nor the newly succeeded 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato, nor the remaining Konoha advisors Utatane Kaharu and Shimura Danzo, they did not expect trouble to come so quickly. Katakana middle. Ask for flowers. Katakana middle. Advertisement. The Hyuga clan is in a storm. When they learned that nearly 200 members of the Hyuga family branch house left Hyuga and betrayed Konoha, their expressions were unbelievable, and they felt that this was a fantasy. The Hyuga clan, or the branch house, would actually betray the village. How do you say this? Do the Hyuga clan all eat dry food? Curse mark. Caged bird is a decoration? It must be approved by the Hyuga clan first, is it not because of curse mark? Caged bird, and now this is how the Hyuga clan returns to the village. From this, it can be seen that the senior members of Konoha and the Konoha Shinobi people are very unhappy with the Hyuga clan. Compared with the Uchiha clan, the Hyuga clan is undoubtedly reassuring. The clansmen are humble and polite, and they are not as arrogant as Uchiha, so it is normal to be treated favorably in some things. In contrast, this is a decision made from the very beginning of the establishment of the village. But they would never have thought that the Hyuga clan would pull their hips so much that the branch house had nearly 200 people slip away under their noses. This is a joke. But the people of the Hyuga clan were also very aggrieved. They didn't expect such a thing to happen. Later, they almost scared the clan members to death. Their first thought was, curse mark. Caged bird is useless. But soon they found out that curse mark. Caged bird is still useful to the rest of the branch house people, but they just don't understand how those branch house people who betrayed their families and villages left, really had disappeared under the lids of the white eyes. Then, Hyuga Haishi, who was not long after the Hyuga family became the patriarch, was called to the Hokage building together with several clan elders. They were angry and nervous at the same time, because they knew what the Hyuga family would face next. Hyuga folks, now I need an explanation. This is the first time Namikaze Minato has faced such a difficult problem since he took the top position, so it's not a bit more conscious than that. Chapter 151 Konoha's response, please subscribe. Several members of the Hyuga clan were prepared in advance, but in the face of the new Hokage's attitude, they couldn't help but feel guilty. They are both angry and helpless now. They are angry that the branch house can do such a thing under the eyes of the Zong family, and they are helpless because they don't know how to explain it to the village. They even feel that the people of Uchiha must have been secretly in private, laugh at them about it. In attendance were the senior officials of Konoha, with 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato sitting on top of them, 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen beside them, advisors Udatane Kaharu and Shimura Danzo, and representatives of various ninja tribes, including Uchiha Fugaku, the head of the Uchiha clan. It can be said that this specification is already quite high, and it is precisely because of this that the pressure on the Hyuga family is so great. Faced with this situation, the Hyuga clan naturally had to find a reasonable excuse for themselves, so they did not hesitate to put the responsibility for this matter on Orochimaru. Lord Hokage, according to our investigation, the disappearance of those branch houses was completed on the same day as Orochimaru's defection. It's hard not to think about something. I think Orochimaru has a huge suspicion in this matter, Hyuga Heishi said solemnly. Sarutobi Hiruzen was about to speak when he suddenly remembered that he was no longer Hokage, so he lowered his eyes and looked at his pipe in silence. When Namikaze Minato heard the words, he glanced at the people present and said, "This is indeed a possibility. I know very well that in this matter, the Hyuga clan is the victim, because you can't take the initiative to do anything that is detrimental to the family's interests." Hearing what he said, everyone in the Hyuga clan was relieved. Thanks to Hokage-sama's approval, this incident has hit the Hyuga family a lot, and the loss of the family is far beyond imagination, so we must find the culprit. 35 Hyuga Heishi said. Namikaze Minato nodded. He and the Hyuga clan had the same opinion on this matter, and Orochimaru was indeed a huge suspect. That is, Orochimaru is not present, otherwise it will definitely be a shame. Of course, Orochimaru was clearly arranged by Shi Shangyang for a long time. After knowing that Orochimaru was going to make a big fuss in Konoha, he decided to take the Hyuga branch house out that night in order to hide himself. Advertisement. Although it is impossible to hide and live, it is better to push this kind of thing to Orochimaru. After all, compared to him, it is better to let Orochimaru use it to attract firepower than to let him stand in front of the stage. Sarutobi Hiruzen was very old and hot, and suddenly said, "Everyone, don't forget Shi Shangyang who appeared that day." After his reminder, everyone remembered what happened that day. Uchiha Fugaku's expression remained the same, but his brows were slightly wrinkled. The expressions of the others were similar, but their thoughts were different. Then Sarutobi Hiruzen said again, "If I remember correctly, what Orochimaru said that day, but after being recruited by Shi Shangyang, the incident of betraying the village appeared, so Shi Shangyang is not suspected of this incident." Small. Everyone nodded subconsciously. This is indeed a doubtful point. Seeing this, the people of the Hyuga family immediately rejoiced. The first thing they have to do now is to lower their responsibility in this matter and let the identity of their victims come to a conclusion. Dissatisfaction is definitely not a good thing. In the positioning of themselves in the village, the Hyuga family is undoubtedly clearer than Uchiha. They are very clear that although they are one of the nobles in the ninja world, they do not have the ability to challenge the entire Konoha, so no matter how proud the Hyuga used to be, and always abide by the rules, in this regard, Uchiha's gang of brainless guys are far from being comparable. In any case, the Hyuga family lost nearly 200 people. We must find the mastermind who did this, Hyuga Heishi said. Shimura Danzo opened his eyes slightly, with a shadow in his one eye, and said coldly, "So, why can't it be the Hyuga branch house's own thoughts on this matter? They also have reasons to betray the village, don't they?" Hyuga Heishi never thought that Shimura Danzo would backstab himself here. His face changed suddenly, and he said solemnly, "What does the Shimura consultant mean? Do you suspect that something is wrong with our Hyuga clan?" Shimura Danzo's expression remained unchanged. "I can't say for sure, as far as I know, because of the curse mark. Caged bird thing, the Hyuga branch house doesn't seem to be as obedient to the clan as it seems. What do you say, head Hyuga?" Danzo. Advertisement. Sarutobi Hiruzen's face was not very good looking, and he said solemnly, "This kind of thing has nothing to do with what we are going to discuss now, and don't say such things again in the future." Shimura Danzo just glanced at Sarutobi Hiruzen, then closed his eyes, as if the person who just spoke was not him. Ahem. 35 Namikaze Minato coughed, knowing that he should say something at this time, so he said, "In this matter, the Hyuga family is the victim, and the people of the Hyuga clan don't want such a thing to happen, but since it happened, it is necessary to find a solution as soon as possible." Hyuga Heishi breathed a sigh of relief upon hearing this. At least Hyuga still has weight on Hokage's side, and it's good to have such a foundation. Please rest assured, Lord Hokage, our Hyuga clan has dispatched elites to investigate this matter. Of course, we also hope that the village can provide support when necessary. After all, it is not only the Hyuga clan that loses this kind of thing. It was also a huge loss for the village, said Hyuga Heishi. But at this time, Shimura Danzo, who was silent just now, spoke again. The village has lost a lot of manpower due to the war. At this time, I can't help Hyuga in this matter, especially Anbu. Now the manpower is insufficient, maybe you can ask other ninjas to help Hyuga in this matter. Udatane Kaharu, who had not spoken for a long time, also said at this time. Indeed, the village has suffered huge losses due to the war. Anbu's manpower has been reduced again and again. 3.0 investigates this matter. The village may not be able to help Hyuga for the time being. When the Hyuga family heard this, their faces suddenly became ugly. He did not expect that the two advisors in the village would attack Hyuga at this time. He knew exactly what Shimura Danzo wanted, and the two focused on Anbu's affairs, that is, hoping that Hyuga's ninja would join Anbu, which was absolutely impossible in the past, but now, Hyuga has been forced to a cliff. Sarutobi Hiruzen was about to say something, but instantly understood Shimura Danzo and Udatane Kaharu's plan, and then he knew that it was best not to say anything at this time. As Hokage, he is very clear that Shimura Danzo is doing this to the benefit of the village, and the Hyuga family really shouldn't be traveling outside of the Konoha structure, but only sending family ninjas to fight during the war, which seems a bit unreasonable now. Chapter 152 The Hyuga family has become a big injustice, please subscribe. The atmosphere at the meeting was very dull. The members of the Hyuga clan saw Sarutobi Hiruzen did not speak again, and their hearts sank suddenly, while the new Hokage Namikaze Minato, after seeing the secret confrontation between the two sides, naturally quickly understood the hidden confrontation. Cough. He coughed and decided to ease the atmosphere on both sides first. Patriarch Hyuga, I will send my shadow guards to help with this matter. 5. He doesn't have the full right to master Hokage yet, but he said this as Hokage's statement on the Hyuga family. Sure enough, hearing him say this, the Hyuga family was obviously relieved. He was afraid that even the new Hokage would not be on his side. In that case, the Hyuga family would be really uncomfortable. Sarutobi Hiruzen remained silent. He knew very well that Shimura Danzo would not relax on this matter. Sure enough, Shimura Danzo said again. Then, now we can talk about how to solve this matter. Hyuga Hiyoshi's face was very ugly, and the elders next to him wanted to open their mouths several times, but in this case, they couldn't say anything. Shimura Danzo did not mention that the village would help the Hyuga clan, and Sarutobi Hiruzen and advisor Udatane Kaharu did not speak, so the attitude was obvious. They were obviously dissatisfied with Hyuga. If the village does not help Hyuga in this matter, then the attitude expressed is that the blind can see it, and the situation of the Hyuga family in the village will be very bad. How the village treats Uchiha on weekdays, the Hyuga family can see clearly. The village does not mean to kill the chickens to show the monkeys, and because of this, the Hyuga family only acts like a good baby on weekdays. But at the same time, the Hyuga clan still maintains the status and face of the ninja clan. Compared with the Uchiha clan, Hyuga's integration into the village is completely incomparable because they only release branch house ninjas, and the clan ninjas rarely show up. The reason is well known, that is to protect the white eyes. Advertisement as a result of this, the village has a natural dissatisfaction with the Hyuga family. There is no other reason. Other ninjas are actively integrating into the village and contributing their own strength to the development of the village. How come you, the Hyuga clan, are so aloof? Or is your Hyuga clan more noble than others? In this way, the attitude of the village ninjas and village names towards the Hyuga family is very strange. Konoha shinobi people and village names are afraid and disgusted with Uchiha, because the people of the Uchiha family are too arrogant, and some are hard to return. As for the Hyuga family, I feel that the Hyuga people are too mysterious and have an inexplicable sense of alienation. This was not a problem in the past. The Hyuga family needed this situation to maintain their reputation as a ninja clan, but now, this situation is not very good, and Uchiha's lesson is in sight. How to do? Hyuga Hiyoshi's heart is heavy, and now it's time for him to express his position. If this continues, the future of the Hyuga family is really gloomy. Shimura Danzo said again at this time. Then, should Orochimaru be designated as rebellion? Also, should Shi Shangyang's rebellion level be raised? Dedicated Kaharu cooperated and said, there is no doubt that Orochimaru is a traitor and forbearance. Based on his ability, it is natural to be rated as an S-level traitor. As for that Shi Shangyang, the ability he showed that day should also belong to the same category. In the category of S-rank betrayal, Yan died in his hands. Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed and nodded slightly. I agree, both of them should be positioned as S-rank rebels in the village. Namikaze Minato had the same attitude on this matter, and nodded, I agree with the two advisors. Hyuga Heishi was silent, but his heart was anxious. The advisors still did not mention the village to help Hyuga, which was undoubtedly forcing him to express his position. Then, as Hokage, I issued an order to designate Orochimaru and Shi Shangyang as the village's S-rank rebels, and at the same time give the amount of the reward for the rebels. Do you have any opinions? Namikaze Minato said. Advertisement the ninja representatives and other ninjas present naturally would not have any opinions on this matter, because this is a very normal solution. In fact, what they are more looking at now is how the Hyuga family should solve this matter, and naturally they will not speak for Hyuga, because this matter has nothing to do with them. Among these people, the one with the most complicated mood is Uchiha Fugaku. At this moment, he saw his own shadow in Hyuga Heishi, and he knew too well what it was like to be targeted by the village. However, Uchiha and Hyuga are born with different characters, perhaps because they are the same as the two giants. Hyuga Heishi gritted his teeth slightly, and finally could only sigh. Lord Hokage, feeling the loss of the village due to the war, the Hyuga clan decided to send the branch house shinobu in the clan to join Anbu to supplement Anbu's loss of manpower due to the war. He compromised, because he knew very well that if it went on like this, the situation of the Hyuga family would be even more difficult, and this kind of thing could not be allowed to happen no matter what. Shimura Danzo opened his eyes when he heard the words, and a flash of joy flashed. As long as the Hyuga family opens this hole, it will be a good thing for him. His roots have not yet had a Hyuga ninja, just what Anbu and Genbu need most. And when he reaches his roots, he will be planted with a tongue-in-cheek technique, and he will also be able to control the Hyuga ninja. At that time, the people in the Hyuga branch house will also belong to him, which is what he has always wanted. And Sarutobi Hiruzen is also satisfied. He is satisfied that Anbu has the addition of Hyuga ninja, which will greatly improve Anbu's ability, because Namikaze Minato is the new superior, and now the master is still in his hands. He plans to build the roots first. The perfection is then handed over to Namikaze Minato. In the end, only the Hyuga clan became the big foes. Sarutobi Hiruzen coughed and said, in this way, with the addition of fresh power, Anbu's power will be enhanced, and he will be able to support the investigation of the Hyuga clan. 35. Now, it's time to set the tone for this matter. Chapter 153 The Ninja World War is coming to an end. Please subscribe. The Hyuga clan has no choice but to make such a decision. The war is still going on outside, and the pressure on the village is not small. The Hyuga clan, as the Hitomiju ninja clan, are basically meat buns in the eyes of other ninja villages. Whenever I get a chance, I want to have a bite. After all, those shinobi villages have been greedy for Hyuga's eyes for a long time. If the Hyuga clan should only send their own strength to deal with this matter, they will definitely send the clan ninjas. It's not that they don't want to send only branch house ninjas, but the Hyuga clan is not very stable right now. The branch house suddenly lost almost 200 people, of which more than 70 people are ninjas, and among the 90-odd people, there are more than 30 people who are ninjas in their young and middle-aged years, and these almost 200 people, the reduction of the entire branch house lost at least a quarter of its strength at once. And because of the news at that time, in order to suppress the unnecessary voices in the clan family dealt with a few branch house clan members ruthlessly. This move was to shock the branch house and maintain the stability of the clan. But it is precisely because of this move that the branch house is dissatisfied with the Zong family. Although the rest of the branch houses will not say anything more because of curse mark. Caged bird, who knows what they think. That's it, the Hyuga clan has to suppress the branch house and deal with the village at the same time, and at the same time, it has to be vigilant that this kind of situation occurs in the branch house again. As the head of the family, Hyuga Heishi is not to mention how tired. But no matter how tired it is, there is nothing more uncomfortable than it is now. Hyuga Heishi feels that he is the most embarrassed patriarch in the history of the Hyuga family. And with Hyuga Hieshi's promise, this meeting has meaning to continue, and the things discussed next will be a lot more normal. The top officials of Konoha promised to arrange special personnel to cooperate with the Hyuga clan to investigate this matter, and also send personnel to defend around the Hyuga clan, because no one knows whether this kind of thing will happen again. In short, with the support of the village, the situation of the Hyuga family is much better, the external environment is stable, and they have enough time to solve the problems within the family. The first thing placed in front of the Hyuga clan is how to deal with the relationship with the branch house, but don't forget, there are still many branch house ninjas who are working hard on the front line. Would be wonderful. Advertisement and this kind of thing, outsiders naturally can't get involved. Even Konoha has no reason to intervene, so he can only watch and wait for the Hyuga family to handle the matter themselves. Stability of the village. But they didn't know that the members of the branch house who betrayed the Hyuga clan at this time were living in paradise at this time. Speaking of Tien village, as time passed, the Hyuga branch houses who came here settled down completely. With the consent of Shi Shangyang, they completed the construction of the Hyuga tribe here, but Shi Shangyang did not. It is stipulated that the clan land can only be equivalent to the living place of the Hyuga clan in Tien village, not the gathering place. There is a conceptual difference between the two, because in the Hyuga land, there are other people in the village. In this way, the Hyuga clan and Tien village are directly connected physically, and they will not be as self-contained as when they were in Konoha, which Shi Shangyang does not want to see. In a force, the appearance of any small group is not a good thing, and Shi Shangyang naturally needs to avoid it. The emergence of the clan is beneficial to the cohesion of the Hyuga clan, but there are other people living in the clan, which will also deepen the dominance of the village at the same time, and also make Hyuga not too mysterious, which will help Hyuga integrate into the village as soon as possible. A small arrangement has taken into account all aspects at the same time. Shi Shangyang's ability to handle government affairs can be seen from this matter, but it is not bad at all. With the addition of the Hyuga branch house, Shi Shangyang's available staff suddenly increased, so that, first of all, there were more teachers available from the ninja school. Among the members of the Hyuga branch house who came to Tanokura, but there are many ninjas. Some Hyuga ninjas may be older and unable to fight again, but as teachers, they are undoubtedly qualified. And the ninjas of the Hyuga family have an inherent advantage that others do not have, that is, they are stronger than ordinary ninjas in physical skills. The gentle fist method may not be suitable for everyone, and without the cooperation of the eyes, there is no way to be a grandmaster in the gentle fist method, but ordinary physical education is not difficult for these Hyuga ninjas. Coupled with the ninja teaching materials compiled by Shi Shangyang, Orochimaru, and Nohara Rin, the ninja school is now on the right track. With the ninja school, Tien Jikun has a normal blood supply ability, which is the most important point of Shi Shangyang. Advertisement: Shi Shangyang's positioning of the ninja school is not the kind of ninja school in the world's ninja village, but more inclined to the kind of school before crossing. It no longer regards becoming a ninja as the main purpose, but regards ninja as a profession that can better serve and socialize, not a tool that only knows how to fight and fight. In Shi Shangyang's opinion, it is extremely wasteful and wrong for ninjas to become tools. It is obvious that ninjas have advanced application ability to chakra. If they are producers, they can play a role that is definitely stronger than destruction. If you are a researcher again, you will definitely have an advantage over ordinary people. So in Shi Shangyang's view, the ninjas of this world have been wrong in their positioning from the very beginning. To this end, Shi Shangyang deliberately expanded the underground base, and at the same time appointed Orochimaru as the head of the scientific research department of Tien Village, and changed the position of the ninja from the very beginning. In addition, he also set up a temporary production department in Tianji Village, mainly engaged in various production, whether it is planting, land reclamation or even construction. This department will participate in it, and the department Chunin is among them. Backbone. For the time being, only the ninjas of the Hyuga clan are on top, but as time goes on, Shi Shangyang is sure that the situation will be greatly improved. Shi Shangyang took out what he had seen before crossing the road, and transformed the entire Tien village little by little, and built it into what he imagined. Any city in a ninja village in the world, and this model is the biggest source of confidence for him to transform the entire ninja world. Under the effect of planning, both ninjas and ordinary people in Tien village burst out with great enthusiasm. In addition, White Zetsu's actions to gather the population in the ninja world in the dark, Tien village is changing at a speed that is changing day by day. This kind of change will not stop in a short period of time. Tien village will also burst into a more powerful force, and as time goes by, the Third Ninja War finally has signs of ending. Shi Shangyang as in he did not neglect the investigation of external intelligence while he was busy, so when he analyzed this result, he knew that the real development opportunity period of Tianji village was approaching. At this time, more than a year has passed, and Shi Shangyang has reached the age of 13, almost 14. Chapter 154. More than a year later, please subscribe. The Third Ninja War ended earlier than the original plot, which was partly due to Shi Shangyang's participation. First, he directly defeated Sand Shinobi in a battle-level battle on the Sand Shinobi front line, and directly let Sand Shinobi fight in the war. In the middle of pulling his hips, there is no way to pose a greater threat to Konoha in the follow-up. Without the pressure on Sand Shinobi's side, Konoha will focus on the war against Rock Shinobi and Cloud Shinobi. Shi Shangyang on Rock Shinobi's side didn't participate much. Instead, because of his calculations, he injured Namikaze Minato, which in turn affected the resolution of the Kamubi Bridge being blown up, making the incident a little later than the original plot. Time just happened. It is precisely because of this that Namikaze Minato has been on the front line of the war against Cloud Shinobi for a long time after his injury has healed. After that, Kanabi Bridge was blown up, Orochimaru betrayed Konoha, and Namikaze Minato became Hokage with the power of victory. If you look closely, you will find that although Shi Shangyang did not directly participate in some things, he was more or less influenced by him. Sand Shinobi then formed an alliance with Konoha to block Rock Shinobi's attack. The latter had no obvious advantage in the war. Coupled with the hatred between Cloud Shinobi, 937 finally had to let go and chose to go with Konoha, end the war. The only ones who are still hostile to Konoha now are Cloud Shinobi and Mist Shinobi. Cloud Shinobi is the most radical of the 5 ninja villages in the ninja world. From Raikage to an ordinary Cloud Shinobi ninja, they all have the ambition to conquer the ninja world. Because of this, they used to act more like mercenaries than just one ninja village. If they were allowed to end the war, they would naturally be unwilling, so now even though they Cloud Shinobi had no advantage in the war, they still chose to fight against Konoha, but the strength of the confrontation was not as fierce as before. Frontline wars waned to the point of border clashes. Finally, there is the Mist Shinobi family. They have a reason to join the war. The disappearance of Three Tails made the whole Mist Shinobi restless. They clearly knew who stole the Three Tails, but Konoha refused to pay anyone. There is no way to make someone, because the Three Tails Jinchuriki Nohara Rin mentioned by Mist Shinobi has disappeared, and Kakashi also learned the important information of her death from the mouth. However, the people of Mist Shinobi didn't believe it at all, so the two sides stalemate over this matter, and neither could persuade the other, Beta, and the only result was to continue the war. Advertisement also because of the loss of Three Tails, Mist Shinobi is full of distrust towards Konoha, so compared to other Shinobi villages, Mist Shinobi is now the most hostile to Konoha, and is also the party that consumes Konoha the most. However, in the second stage, as long as the other three are quiet, Konoha will deal with Mist Shinobi alone, there is no problem. So the ninja world began to enter a state of peace relatively, although the war with Cloud Shinobi and Mist Shinobi has not really ended, but compared to the previous Third Ninja War, this kind of environment is what Konoha wants most of. During this process, 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato has gradually become known to the public, and Konoha has entered the era of 4th Hokage. But this is not what Shi Shangyang wants to care about. He has been paying attention to the situation in the ninja world, knowing that the peace of the ninja world is a very precious development period for Tien Village. During the period, Tien Zhiguo can gradually reveal something to the outside world. The country of Tien, the village of Tien, the office of the chief building. Shi Shangyang is writing at his desk and making adjustments to some recent plans in the village. He is the leader of TNG Village and the leader of the Heavenly Organization. Although there are not many things for the two forces to deal with, each of them is not simple. For more than a year, Tien Village has been expanding. After the efforts of White Zetsu's annihilation, the population has increased from more than 2,000 people at the beginning to nearly 10,000 people now. Strictly speaking, it has been an urbanized town. The more people there are, the more resources will naturally be consumed. Although self-sufficiency can be achieved, if there is no contact with the outside world, TNG Village will not develop anyway. Shi Shangyang is very clear about this. Therefore, when the population of the village exceeded 4,000, Tien Village had already begun to contact the outside world, first of all, commercial contacts. With the help of the geographical convenience of TNG, it began to communicate with the surrounding Iron Country, Taki Country, Tang Zhiguo and other small countries began to trade, and at the same time began to accept more foreign populations. Although this move is powerful for the development of TNG Village, it will also expose TNG Village to the eyes of those big forces in the ninja world, which will be detrimental to Shi Shangyang's idea of hiding himself, but this is nothing to him. Difficult. A wood-style clone and transformation technique will do it. Now his identity outside is the leader of Tien Village. His name is Taito Yuichiro, his age is a secret, and his appearance is a face he randomly pinched out, very ordinary, and he sets his own position as Tien Zhiguo the native ninja, dissatisfied with the weakness and barrenness of the land, determined to build a strong ninja village. Advertisement. There are traces of Taito Yuichiro's growth from birth to the present. Shi Shangyang is still very detailed in his handling of this point. No one would have thought that the real leader of TNG Village would be Shi Shangyang, even if it was another person. Even if the village intelligence spy came, it was impossible to find out. The pen in his hand paused, and Shi Shangyang looked up at the floor in midair, and there was a figure gradually floating up there. It was White Zetsu, who had left the village for a while. Master Chief, I'm back, please subscribe. As time went on, White Zetsumi's character became more and more like a human being, and his ability to stay was gradually enhanced. He completed the orders given by Shi Shangyang very well, and it can be said that he worked hard. Shi Shangyang shook his head with a smile, then lowered his head and continued his work without raising his head. The people of the Vortex family have huge advantages in terms of body and chakra. They shouldn't be the victims of war, and saving her is just a matter of saving her. I don't want people like this to be buried because of the war. 55. It's hard work. What's the result? Shi Shangyang asked. Shi Shangyang nodded slightly and said with a smile. Is that so? It's good to find the survivors of the whirlpool again. Tell the whirlpool Sha Yeguo this news. She should be happy if she knows the news. No, she's in Orochimaru's laboratory. You can go there and find her directly. The development of the self-shaped puppet has come to an end, and Sha Yeguo has made a lot of contributions in this regard. White Zetsu said with a chuckle. According to your order, the leader, I first went to the country of stone, and then to the country of Sichuan, and I also walked around the country of soup and frost, and found the country of the ear. After the kingdom of Vortex, the Uzumaki clan's migration route also found a few Vortex clan people who were living abroad and brought them back. 39. Okay, Lord Chief, do you need me to notify her to come? White Zetsu asked. Really, then it seems that the leader, you went to the country of grass to rescue her. It was a wise choice. 35. Chapter 155 Tien Village Uzumaki Clan, for subscription. White Zetsu left from the boss building, walked on the street, and looked around curiously. Tianjikan is no longer the small village with only 2 streets before. Now Tianjikan has a permanent population of nearly 10,000, and the village has expanded into a not-so-small town, with more than a dozen main streets alone, not to mention the alleys that are like capillaries. This place really has the appearance of a city, and there are many pedestrians coming and going. On the street where the chief building is located, there are more than half of the shops and restaurants of TNG Village, and the business atmosphere is strong. White Zetsu found that every time he came back, the things he saw change. Compared with the unchanging appearance of other large country ninja villages, this place is undoubtedly full of fresh breath. Although he is a special human puppet, White Zetsu Mie has gradually become human now, which is something that Shi Shangyang never thought of. The changes in White Zetsu's body, in detail, the reason is still Shi Shangyang, because of the particularity of White Zetsu's death. To a large extent, it acts as Shi Shangyang's eyes and ears in the ninja world, so Shi Shangyang also played on him. Kung Fu specially made an upgrade for him. This is not an ordinary upgrade. When transforming White Zetsu, Shi Shangyang used various methods that he mastered at that time, such as human puppet transformation, chakra core manufacturing, puppet control, chakra control, seal and yin escape. So many abilities were used on White Zetsu's body, and this was the birth of White Zetsu. But at that time, the White Zetsu annihilation can only be regarded as a tool at most, and there is still this essential difference from human beings. But now it is different, because Shi Shangyang added Yongdun chakra to him, which is the ultimate Yongdun, the kind of Yongdun chakra that can give life to the body. Shi Shangyang wasn't sure what effect this would have on White Zetsu, but the results surprised him a bit. Yongdun chakra did not directly obliterate White Zetsu's mind, but instead enhanced it in a certain way, allowing White Zetsu to have a similar perception ability as a human being. The main difference between humans and animals is that humans can think, while animals cannot. Generally speaking, a White Zetsu with thinking ability can also be called a human being, but what he has is more just rational, which is determined by White Zetsu himself, belongs to the innate limitation, but after joining Ultimate's chakra, this limitation was broken. The current White Zetsu has also possessed the thinking ability of a normal person, and can sum up his own insights from various experiences. With this, he can truly become a person. This is also the reason why the current White Zetsu Annihilation will behave like this. He walked along the way to take a look, and it didn't take long for him to come to a building in the north of the village. It was guarded by special personnel, and there were at least 3 Hyuga ninja guards around. From this point of view, it could be seen that there were something important exists. Advertisement, but in fact, this building is just an entrance. The building is used to seal up ninjutsu scrolls. It is a relatively important place in Tien Village. The guarding ninja outside is only a statement to the outside world. There is nothing to lose if it is destroyed. Because the various ninjutsu scrolls in it are basically copied by Shi Shangyang himself, and the really important ninjutsu has been sealed with a special knot seal and hidden deep underground. Ninjutsu, as the inheritance of a village, is naturally the top priority, and Shi Shangyang will not be careless on this point. White Zetsu killed Shi Shiran into it, and then went down a corridor in a room, and soon came to the underground base. If Tien Village on the ground is a town, then the underground can be said to be another world. After so many expansions, Shi Shangyang and Orochimaru, as well as the ninjas in the village, have almost hollowed out the underground of Tien Village, and built laboratories of various levels, with a wide variety and complete classification. The underground base is not small, and the defense here is more stringent. In addition to the normal ninja defense, there are all kinds of strange puppet creations. There are animal types and humanoid types, all of which are hidden in the dark and merge with the wall or floor. Usually, they cannot be found at all. However, each puppet has an autonomous fighting ability, and its fighting power may not be too strong, but among them, the powerful ones have at least the level of Chunin. Don't think that Chunin is weak. In the case of enough numbers, the role these puppets can play is absolutely exaggerated. It can be said that White Zetsu is very familiar here. After all, he was born in this underground space, so he quickly reached his destination. Orochimaru has many laboratories in the underground base, and each laboratory has different research, and now Orochimaru is busy in the laboratory of the self-shaped human puppet. He has been in this state for almost a week, just because the self-formed puppet has reached its final stage, and will soon be able to achieve real success. Without being blocked, White Zetsu entered it, glanced at the scene in the laboratory, and quickly found Orochimaru. Orochimaru-kun, didn't bother you? White Zetsu said with a smile. Katakana middle dot 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 0. Orochimaru raised his head slightly, and after seeing that the person who came was White Zetsu, he said with a low laugh in his special voice. Why, have you figured it out? Are you willing to be my test subject? Advertisement. White Zetsu looked strange. Don't say that, Orochimaru-kun, your proposal is too scary. In addition to Orochimaru, there are several of his experimental assistants and subordinates. Some of these people are natives of Tiano village, and they have found talents in this field through Shi Shangyang and Orochimaru. The other subordinates follow Orochimaru from Konoha, people who come. Without seeing his target, White Zetsu asked, where is the whirlpool sand also? I have good news to tell her. She was resting in the room. Did she find the vortex remnant? She should be very concerned about this matter, but if it is the Vortex clan, it may be able to help me in another experiment. Orochimaru grinned. White Zetsu scratched his head. He was not used to dealing with guys like Orochimaru, and complained. Then why not let Sayeguo help you? Orochimaru added his lower lip and said with a sneer. I think so too, but the leader is not willing. He said that Sayeguo is a pregnant woman and is not suitable for that kind of experiment. 99. Well, that's exactly what I said. Unfortunately, Sayeguo's husband was not rescued at that time, and a Uzumaki population was lost. HMPH, isn't this kind of thing very common in the ninja world? With the special physique of the Uzumaki clan, they are not lucky enough to be rescued by the leader. Sure enough, I still can't be as cold-blooded as Orochimaru-kun. I should be more like a person like this, White Zetsu said while rubbing his chin. Shout, go in and call her yourself. After Orochimaru said that, he threw himself back into the matter at hand. White Zetsu shrugged, opened the door of the lounge and walked in, then saw a woman with long red hair stood up from the chair. I'm here to tell you good news. This time I went out and found more than a dozen Vortex survivors who have been brought back. The woman's belly was bulging. She was obviously pregnant. She heard surprise on her face, pushed down her glasses and said, thank you for me, the leader, and tell him that the self-shaped human puppet will be successful soon. We'll report to him with the results. Well, you should tell the leader yourself about this kind of thing. Anyway, you are the chief of the Uzumaki clan in the village, so it's better for you to tell him this kind of thing yourself. Chapter 156 Self-Shaping Puppet, for subscription. It's not too much trouble to say it. The Vortex Sand is also a remnant of the Uzumaki clan in the country of Vortex. Because the kingdom of Vortex was destroyed, the remaining people of the Vortex clan were scattered all over the ninja world, and life was very difficult. This is from Nagato. Can be seen. Vortex Sha Yeguo all the way to the country of grass. Because of the Third Ninja War, her family died, and she herself just became pregnant. If it wasn't for Shi Shangyang to save her, she could not continue to live in the end. Still unknown. Because of the special physique of the Uzumaki clan, Shi Shangyang naturally paid attention to it, and it happened that Tien village was short of population, so he gave White Zetsu an order by the way, asking him to try his best to find the remnants of the Uzumaki clan. The people of the Whirlpool family can be said to be born ninjas, but they have a greater role in Tien village. This can be seen from the Whirlpool Sha Yeguo. Because of her wandering, 9 Sanchi, relationship since childhood, she actually doesn't know much. Apart from her natural ninja talent, she doesn't have any decent ninjutsu as a master. But even so, after she had been recuperating for a period of time, Shi Shangyang tried to arrange her into the laboratory, starting from the most basic places, but in just over 3 months, she could become Orochimaru's experiment assistant. This kind of talent makes people's jaw drop. It is precisely because of this that Shi Shangyang attaches great importance to the Vortex Sand fruit. In addition to this, there is another reason. From the timeline of the original plot, he feels that the Vortex Sand fruit is very likely, that is, Uzumaki Shang in the original plot, Rin's mother. How about Uzumaki's talent? That is a genius who can master adamantine sealing chains, a forbidden technique, at a young age, and also has that special physique to supplement chakra for others. It is not ordinary. This point is actually reflected in the Whirlpool Sha Yeguo, but because of her pregnancy, Shi Shangyang is not good at testing her, so he still looks forward to the birth of the child in the Whirlpool Sha Yeguo. In the current Tien village, there are nearly 100 Vortex clan remnants, which is already quite a lot. At least they can bear the name of a ninja clan. Guo came to be the patriarch of the Vortex clan. Like the Hyuga clan, the Uzumaki clan were assigned to the clan in Tien village, and they also took the decision to live with other people, and now they are recovering the population of the clan a little bit, but this kind of thing is impossible for a few decades. Something has changed a lot. Shi Shangyang is encouraging about this. In terms of population, Shi Shangyang has always been like this. To sum up, he wants to get rich first, build roads, have more children and more trees. For this reason, he even listed a series of population welfare subsidies. Given the current financial problems of the village, there will not be too many problems in its implementation. Because it already has business dealings with other countries, the current Tien village is full of vitality. In this regard, the laboratory has made a huge contribution. Advertisement in particular, the hit medicines obtained from the laboratory made Tien Nomura earn a lot of money in this regard. In the development of drugs, in addition to Shi Shangyang and Orochimaru, Nohara Lin is also in charge of a laboratory in this area. Anyway, there are only so many people in the village now. Naturally, the competent people work a lot. I haven't seen him, the leader is busy every day. If you don't see anyone, then other people will naturally do as much as they can. This guy Orochimaru has not been on the ground for several months, and he has been eating and sleeping in the underground base all day. If it goes on like this, Shi Shangyang is a little worried that this guy will suddenly die in the underground base that day. In other areas, such as the ninja school, after more than a year of development, the number of students has risen to the level of more than 300 or almost 400, and at the same time, it is divided into grades, and it is only a junior school for the time being. In this regard, Shi Shangyang is going to imitate the world before crossing, and classify it into a high-level version above the ninja school, which is equivalent to the university kind. It's just that people in this world are very special, they are very precocious, and they are much better at the master of knowledge. This may be the influence of chakra. After all, chakra is the energy that combines the mind and the body. It can be extracted from chakra. Not too bad. And if the mental strength is good, the understanding ability will naturally be better, and it is easy to understand to such an extent. The teaching in the school, in addition to ninjutsu education, is more about basic education. In this regard, Shi Shangyang only has the knowledge that he remembered before crossing. To be honest, it is a little bit stronger than the scholars in this world, and there is nothing like a master. Leapfrog knowledge. But he is knowledgeable, he knows how to integrate this knowledge, and how to use it, so under his auspices, there is a huge difference between the basic education of the ninja school and the ninja school in this world. Therefore, some students with good talents and good grades in the ninja school now have the ability to take over some simple experiments, which is what Shi Shangyang likes most. He hopes that these people are the ones who discover knowledge, rather than those who become passive recipients of knowledge like the ninjas in this world. After more than a year of development, the various rules of TNG village have been formulated, and the rest only needs to be accumulated over time. After reaching a certain level, qualitative changes will occur naturally. In this regard, Shi Shangyang is very much looking forward to it. Advertisement among the things he was looking forward to, there was an opinion that he and Orochimaru presided over the development of the self-shaped human puppet. But this day came sooner than he expected. On the third day after White Zetsu returned to the village, the finished product was placed in front of Shi Shangyang. Finally done? In the laboratory, Shi Shangyang asked with a smile on his face. Orochimaru adds lips. This is already his signature move. Every time Shi Shangyang sees it, he wants to spit on him. What is this, Orochimaru? It's just a big tongue. Fortunately, considering that it was a cooperative relationship, Shi Shangyang held back and didn't say anything. On the test bench in front of him, in a glass vessel the size of a rice bowl, there was a piece of white flesh and blood that was squirming slightly. This mass of matter has a texture similar to white Zetsu's body tissue. It seems that 3.0 is not very normal. There are waves of chakra circulating on it. At the same time, because of the creeping relationship, one can clearly perceive the vitality contained in it. This imposing manner is the product of the transformation of white Zetsu's body tissue, and it is already significantly different from white Zetsu. At least now, if white Zetsu is present, there is no way to use this mass of substances. Shi Shangyang didn't hesitate. His hands began to form seals. The speed was not fast, and none of the seals were perfect, and finally he pressed lightly on the mass of matter with one hand. In an instant, a black incantation appeared, instantly wrapping the entire piece of matter. Immediately afterwards, the matter suddenly began to twist, and the volume also increased rapidly. The speed at which the cells proliferated was unbelievable, but in just a few breaths, the mass of matter grew into a humanoid creature. Chapter 157. Want to control the country of Tien? Please subscribe. Humanoid indeed. Because this thing has the same body shape as a normal person, but without facial features and gender, it looks like a white plastic model, standing quietly on the test bench. Seeing this, Shi Shangyang was not surprised, because this is the state of the self-shaped puppet before it was activated. What is a self-shaping human puppet? To put it bluntly, through a small piece of special flesh and blood tissue, it grows rapidly and then becomes a humanoid puppet with a real shape. But just in that case, there is nothing magical about this thing. After all, the white Zetsu cells themselves have a similar effect in this regard. But if this thing has a certain intelligence and combat power, it is not as simple as an ordinary puppet. The self-shaped human puppet is such a creation. This thing was created, but Shi Shangyang used it to benchmark the 100,000 white Zetsu. At the same time, he also let these self-shaped human puppets perform certain scientific research auxiliary tasks and combat tasks, to supplement the shortage of ninjas. This is also something that 14 can't do. No matter how powerful Shi Shangyang is, he can't do everything by himself, and Tien Jikun is still in the early stage of development. He said that he has achieved certain results, but the distance to the extent Shi Shangyang envisioned, there is still a long way to go. Therefore, it is imperative to replenish manpower. However, if the manpower is replenished from the outside, at most, it will find some ordinary people who have been displaced by the war. The lack of ninjas is always difficult to solve. Even if they can find ninjas, Shi Shangyang may not be relieved. Therefore, it is urgently needed for today's Tiano village to come up with a human puppet that can make up for this loophole. The development of this thing is far more difficult than imagined. Shi Shangyang and Orochimaru have spent most of their time on this thing for more than a year. For this reason, Orochimaru has a lot of strange words. After all, it delayed his development. Immortality technology, if not for the great environment and support provided by Shi Shangyang, Orochimaru might have had a rebellion against the village. Fortunately, no time was wasted. After hard work, the development of the self-shaping human puppet was completed. In the laboratory, in addition to Shi Shangyang and Orochimaru, there were also Rin Nohara, Naoto Hyuga, the chief of Hyuga, Sayako Uzumaki, chief of the Vortex. They are all witnesses of today's scene. What use? Advertisement. Shi Shangyang didn't make everyone wait too long. He stretched out a finger and gently touched the puppet's abdomen. There is the chakra core of the human puppet, which borrows part of the Sand Shinobi human puppet transformation technology, that is, the aspect of the chakra core manufacturing, which is similar to the chakra core of the white Zetsu eradication, but there is no white Zetsu eradication of the chakra core. So almighty, only the chakra storage capacity. Shi Shangyang was transporting chakra to the puppet, and with the delivery of chakra, the puppet's facial features were revealed. Similar to white Zetsu, with a dull expression on his face, he just stood there blankly. Orochimaru inserted a probe for detection into the acupuncture point on the puppet, and then looked at the value displayed on the instrument and said casually, "With the amount of chakra on this puppet, he can move for about 3 days. To be able to fight a Genin level fight." Shi Shangyang nodded slightly. He just entered a little chakra casually, and it was almost the level of normal Genin. This result was expected. Thinking like this, he formed the seal again, and then bit his finger and pressed his blood to the core of the human puppet's chakra. Immediately, a dark spell appeared again, and then disappeared along with the blood. The value on the instrument has changed. The core chakra refining system has been activated. With your blood added, the human puppet automatically simulates the blood supply system in its body and begins to simulate your blood genes. Now, this puppet can be autonomous without entering chakra action. That is to say, from now on, this self-shaped human puppet has abilities similar to normal people and can refine chakra. If you want to refine chakra, you must first have thinking. After all, chakra is the energy that combines the mind and the body, and the human puppet is a weakness in this regard, but the human puppet has a certain intelligence. Yin Dan specially modified the original white Zetsu cells. Coupled with the addition of Shi Shangyang's blood, the human puppet's own blood is simulated, which is equivalent to Yang Dan. The combination of Yin Dan and Yang Dan also achieves the similar effect of the combination of spirit and body. The quality of the chakra produced may not be as high as that of normal people, but it is completely usable for self-shaped human puppets. Advertisement after all, Shi Shangyang's positioning of the self-shaped puppet is compared to that of white Zetsu. To put it bluntly, this thing is to win by quantity. Now, neither Shi Shangyang nor Orochimaru will make a strong presence. They both agree on one sentence, the one that can be popularized is the most suitable for them, and the self-shaped human puppet obviously meets this requirement. Shi Shangyang just nodded, but did not speak, and everyone present quietly waited. Half an hour later, Orochimaru spoke again. The chakra refinement has reached the bottleneck, almost the amount of chakra of Chunin, to use the spell mark of the spell drawn before 937 in the white Zetsu cells. This guy can now use sea-level ninjutsu, because it uses your blood to activate chakra. Refining, so this guy is relatively comprehensive in terms of chakra attributes. The 5 types of chakra's nature transformation can be mastered. In sum, he is the best among Chunin, but the combat experience cannot be improved anymore, which may affect the combat ability. Point 35. Shi Shangyang smiled when he heard the words, nodded and said, "Okay, this level is enough, then from now on, it is the production of self-shaped human puppets, and the first batch of production quantity is 1000. Nohara Rin said at this time. According to the agreement with Obito last time, he will come back tomorrow. It was Naoto Hyuga who spoke, and now he is in charge of contacting the Land of Rain. Orochimaru has no objection. After this thing is produced, he can also use it. When everyone heard this, their spirits were lifted, and they heard Shi Shangyang say again, "Within 1 year, we must master the whole country of Tien." 5. Please subscribe. Okay, then we can start the next step. So, is there any good news to tell me? Shi Shangyang asked. Shi Shangyang nodded. Well, I remember this. Where's the Land of Rain? Shao organization has begun to recruit people according to the plan, he said. Chapter 158 Planning Preparation for Subscription. Yes. Asterisk 2 Everyone present responded, even Orochimaru, who had a very reckless personality, bowed his head slightly at this time. After more than a year, he has fully seen the power of Shi Shangyang, and also understands how crazy what Shi Shangyang wants to do, but he is not a person who follows the rules, so he is not alienated because of Shi Shangyang's madness. He, on the contrary, because of this madness, gave him a lot of motivation. In Orochimaru's eyes, Shi Shangyang is a more terrifying lunatic than him, and this lunatic is incomparably rational and not extreme at all, which makes Orochimaru think that Shi Shangyang may have a great possibility and can really realize the final idea. Shi Shangyang's promise to him has been fulfilled. Although he sometimes likes to squeeze him, it does provide him with a very stable experimental environment, as well as a very rich experimental fund. This feeling of being supported by the sponsor's father, Orochimaru also never experienced it. No matter what kind of thinking, Shi Shangyang can keep up with his thoughts, which is what makes Orochimaru most satisfied. He is very clear that one's thinking has limitations, and when it collides with other people's thoughts, there are only then will more wonderful ideas emerge. It is precisely because of this that Orochimaru feels like a duck in water in Tien Village. Even if the immortality technology has not been developed, it has a good beginning. This beginning is provided by Shi Shangyang, and Orochimaru thinks it is very reasonable. In fact, Orochimaru didn't know that Shi Shangyang actually chose some of the things that came out after Orochimaru in the original plot and said it in advance. In fact, he was still using Orochimaru's things to gain Orochimaru's favor. Shi Shangyang did this without any psychological pressure. If he didn't say anything, Orochimaru didn't know how long he would spend on it. How could he have such a good start as soon as he came up? Dreaming. Pull away. Among the people present, Nohara Rin has also changed her mentality. There is no other reason. Her own situation is one aspect, and the 3 tails in her body is also another aspect. In addition, due to the reasons of Uchiha Obito and Uchiha Sasuke, she gradually became more interested in Tien. The village has more recognition. Advertisement Shi Shangyang did not break his promise and did not force her to do anything. Even though she is 3 tails Jinchuriki and has a strong fighting potential, Shi Shangyang never asked her to develop in this direction, but encouraged her to continue the medical treatment she liked, ninja business. It is precisely because of this that Nohara Rin feels that her current life is very fulfilling. In addition to her work at the ninja school, she also works part-time as the management of Tanemura Hospital, and is also in charge of a medical ninjutsu laboratory. She also got a lot of inspiration from Shi Shangyang. She is currently researching a new medical ninjutsu. If it can be developed, it will definitely open up a new medical ninjutsu route for the village in the future. As for Naoto Hyuga, the patriarch of the Hyuga clan in Tien Village, not to mention, he is still in a state of fanaticism among converts. Basically, what Shi Shangyang says and what he does is a bit mindless. However, the positioning of Hyuga Naoto himself is like this, to be the most useful tool for Shi Shangyang. Don't joke. Anyone who has grown up in an environment where there is no freedom but yearns for freedom for more than 10 years will feel grateful after being rescued, not to mention Shi Shangyang's care for these Hyuga branch houses, and there is absolutely no use of them. It means that, instead of taking care of it in many ways, this is the reason why the Hyuga branch house can quickly return to their hearts. The current Hyuga branch houses should not be too satisfied with their lives. They don't have the feeling of fear that they used to be. No one in TNG village asked them to do this. Although everyone was assigned a job, it was a normal job. There was no conspiracy involved. It was a kind of the embodiment of the value of life, they can naturally distinguish. Up to now, the people in the Hyuga branch house, Caged Bird, have all been released, and now they have started the research and development of a new curse seal. The particularity of the white eyes is destined to be a treasure coveted by various forces, so even if curse mark, Caged Bird is lifted, they urgently need another method to protect their eyes. Shi Shangyang has no opinion on this. It is human nature. He does not understand the insecurity of the Hyuga family from time to time, but he can understand their feelings very well, so he is very supportive in this regard. Advertisement, however, there are too many things in his hands recently, so he didn't intervene in this kind of thing, but let the Hyuga family do it himself. But these Hyuga branch houses want to create a new spell to protect the white eyes, and it can't be as harsh as Caged Bird, which obviously has a long way to go. Shi Shangyang reckoned that without the intervention of himself or Orochimaru, it would have been impossible to get it out just by letting the people from the Hyuga branch house do it. Shi Shangyang is not in a hurry about this, he will talk about it later when he has time. As for the people of the Uzumaki clan, not to mention, they are latecomers, and now is the time to express themselves, because they also urgently need the support of Shi Shangyang. For the growth of the family, it is impossible without the support of Shi Shangyang, so in this kind of thing, they show more enthusiasm than others. The order was issued, and Tien Jamura acted as quickly as a machine. However, it is not an easy thing to completely control the country of Tien. You must have a very complete plan. Compared with the entire country of Tien, the current Tien village is undoubtedly insignificant. It is quite difficult to complete the plan. The meaning of snake swallowing elephant. But this snake is not an ordinary snake, but a shooter with an infinite appetite. One day it will fade away, Nuo Hao Jiao, and turn into a real dragon. The next day, Shi Shangyang met the ambassador Uchiha Obito from afar in his office. In more than a year, Uchiha Obito has changed a lot. The youthful past has faded, and he has become a lot calmer. This time he came here alone. Every time he met Shi Shangyang, Uchiha Obito was very careful. He is now in the dark and cannot see the light, otherwise the follow-up plan will be difficult to implement. Shi Shangyang said, "I'm going to start the plan to control the country of Tien, how about you?" Uchiha Obito said, "Everything is normal on my side, that guy Black Zetsu is still the same, he is planning the Master Shao organization, but you decided that Nagato and the others can handle it? Why do I think they might be exposed? After all, if you recruit Renin, is not an easy task. 35. Chapter 159, Tailed Beast Collection Plan, Subscription Required. Don't worry, Nagato and the others are much smarter than you," Shi Shangyang laughed. Speaking of Nagato and the others, there have been many changes over the past year. It is more accurate to say that it is a change, rather than a development. First of all, in the Land of Rain, Shao organization killed Hanzo of the Salamander. At that time, Shao organization did not inform Shi Shangyang. Shi Shangyang only knew when he received the news that Hanzo of the Salamander had already cooled down. It is said that he died, still old. In this regard, Shi Shangyang said that the Shao organization has done a good job. If he had this kind of action before, how would he have been beaten into a muddle by Hanzo of the Salamander? Then, the Akatsuki organization entered the country of Rain, launched a big purge in the Rain Shinobi village, swept away the old part loyal to Hanzo of the Salamander, and successfully took over the Rain Shinobi village. It was perfect to the end, nothing went wrong. This made Shi Shangyang see Shao's ability to organize people's execution, and there is nothing to say in this regard. With Shi Shangyang's explanation in advance, the people in the Shao organization also knew the identity of Uchiha Obito, and they were extremely vigilant about that. In the blink of an eye, Akatsuki killed Hanzo of the Salamander, and in Black Zetsu, it became the proof that Uchiha Obito succeeded in bewitching Shao 937, and left enough impression on Black Zetsu. Except for Black Zetsu, both Uchiha Obito and Akatsuki knew the reason for doing this. Only Black Zetsu became the only one who had been blamed, and it was still kept in the dark. Since then, Black Zetsu has felt a lot more at ease with Uchiha Obito, feeling that Uchiha Obito is still under his control, but he doesn't know that both parties are doing this to stabilize him, so that he will not notice something wrong and play directly, disappear. The next thing is very simple. Akatsuki took control of Rain Shinobi village, and pushed Yahiko and Konan to the front of the stage. Nagato hid behind the scenes. The three grew up together. This division of labor is very reasonable. Because Yahiko is the leader of the Akatsuki organization and the most convincing one, and Konan, as his deputy, has no problem with coordination. Nagato can be considered a force in charge. With Rinnegan, he can better monitor the entire country of Rain behind the scenes. That's it. After recruiting the rest of Rain Shinobi village, the Akatsuki organization gradually brought the entire Rain country under its control. When we got here, the development of things was not much different from the original plot, that is, Yahiko survived, and nothing else changed. The only difference is that the Shao organization has contact with Shi Shangyang, and has actively contacted after that. Shi Shangyang once. At that time, after Shi Shangyang went to Rain Shinobi village, he told Shao to organize the follow-up plan. Advertisement stable. They don't need to do anything else, just maintain the current stability, secretly accumulate strength, and improve the environment of the Rain country little by little. Shi Shangyang will also regularly support the Rain Shinobi village, so that the Shao organization can better control the entire Rain country. With the support of Shi Shangyang, and because of the war, the country of rain was already very chaotic, so in this case, it really let Shao organize people's hearts quickly, and with the passage of time, with the ninja world. After the end of the war, the land of rain quickly stabilized. In this way, Black Zetsu is even more satisfied with Uchiha Obito and the Akatsuki organization. In his opinion, being able to control the entire rain country itself shows the ability of Akatsuki's organization. With a small country and shinobi village as the foundation, then master the Akatsuki organization with this kind of power is even more qualified to become his power to rescue his mother. But it's not enough, so Black Zetsu told Uchiha Obito about the plan, and Uchiha Obito and Akatsuki performed a show to let Akatsuki know about Black Zetsu's plan, and wanted Akatsuki to continue to increase its own the power of. Shi Shangyang had already told the people in the Shao organization about this, so the people in the Shao organization were not surprised, because they had already made plans for this. After some delay, almost in the near future, after the environment of the ninja world has stabilized, the Akatsuki organization has started preparations in this regard. This is also a part of the plan. In Shi Shangyang's view, since the advantage of foresight is no longer obvious, why not create an environment for foresight? Those rebels in the original plot, no matter how you look at them, each of them is a guy with outstanding ability. Instead of letting them scattered all over the ninja world, it is better to let the Shao organization gather them. On the one hand, they can be controlled and monitored. On the other hand, they can also be used to use their power to do things for the Akatsuki organization or TNG-kun. Wouldn't it be beautiful? This is naturally a multi-pronged thing. Shi Shangyang had planned it early. It was impossible for these rebellions to escape from his palm. Shout. 35 Uchiha Obito snorted, not bothering much about this issue. He said, if it's all right, I'll go see Rin and Sasuke. Wait first, there is one more thing to tell you, Shi Shangyang said. What? Uchiha Sasuke wondered. Shi Shangyang took out a scroll and handed it to him. The latter took it and opened it. After a while, his eyes widened. Advertisement, Sister Kushina is pregnant. Obito, without blacken, doesn't change the way he addresses people close to him, because he has a good relationship with Kushina. Shi Shangyang nodded. This is the information from Konoha. You know that your teacher became the 4th Hokage. Now that Uzumaki Kushina is pregnant, I guess this secret should not be kept for long. What do you mean? Isn't this a good thing? Uchiha Obito asked. Shi Shangyang nodded slightly. For you or Kakashi or Namikaze Minato, this is indeed a good thing, but it is not a good thing for Konoha. Nine-Tails Jinchuriki gives birth, and the Jinchuriki seal is prone to problems at this time. Yes. Uchiha Obito's eyes widened immediately, and after thinking about it, he understood the key. Shi Shangyang said quietly, so do you think this matter will be a good thing for Black Zetsu? Uchiha Obito frowned immediately. Of course, you don't need to guess about this kind of thing. You know what his ultimate purpose is, so it is imperative to collect the tailed beasts. Even if there is not enough strength to collect the tailed beasts, but give Konoha in advance. I'm sure Black Zetsu would be happy with that. You mean, that guy would definitely do something about this kind of thing? Please subscribe. Shi Shangyang smiled and said inexplicably, so, what do you think should be done? Shi Shangyang nodded. This time, Obito turned a lot and subconsciously said, damn, that guy will definitely let me do this kind of thing. Chapter 160 Planning Nine-Tails Chakra, please subscribe. Uchiha Obito is very distressed now. Without blacken, he still has sincere feelings for other people, especially in terms of his own companions. Let him hurt his companions, which he can't do now. But his current identity is a person who has experienced pain, and his character is an extremist who wants to create a new world, so according to this kind of character, he will definitely hope to do something at this time, otherwise he will not fit the character. And in doing so, Uchiha Obito will suffer even more, giving him the feeling that the darkness of the world is coming upon him. Shi Shangyang naturally knew what he was thinking, and smiled slightly. It's still too early to say this, and there is no definite news from Black Zetsu. In short, prepare yourself mentally and plan in advance, so as not to have time. Did you really do something that you regret, are you right? 5. He still likes Uchiha Obito very much. Obito without blacken is undoubtedly trustworthy. Shi Shangyang has no doubts about this guy's loyalty to himself. After all, he saved Nohara Rin and made him a happy father people. Uchiha Obito nodded solemnly, and said solemnly, you are right, that guy from Black Zetsu will definitely make a fuss about this matter. Then I have to think of a way. It is best to let Mr. Shun have a respond in advance. Shi Shangyang shook his head and said, don't forget, now you are dead in Konoha, and your name is on the memorial tablet. What? Uchiha Obito was stunned for a moment, then became helpless, scratching his head and said, yes, then how do you notify Mr. Minato and the others? Shi Shangyang can understand Uchiha Obito's thoughts, and if he is Uchiha Obito, he will probably do the same thing. In life, there are always some people and things that you care about. It is precisely because of this that Shi Shangyang will do the same. So confident about it. Because compared to Black and Obito, who has no bottom line and no principles in doing things, now Obito's rational and principled situation is more trustworthy. It's really troublesome. Uchiha Obito looked troubled. Shi Shangyang poured him a cup of tea and then said, actually, it's not that difficult. Uchiha Obito was overjoyed and asked, is there anything you can do? Shi Shangyang chuckled lightly, and then said in a low voice, if Black Zetsu really wants you to do something about this, you can just do it directly. What? Advertisement Uchiha Obito was dumbfounded, and subconsciously retorted, if you really want to do what you say, wouldn't that hurt Minato-sensei and the others? 99. Shi Shangyang didn't answer directly, but took a sip of tea and said, then why can't you find other people to cooperate? Uchiha Obito looked blank. Guess, among the current Konoha, who would most like to have a problem with the fourth Hokage couple? Shi Shangyang asked. Ah, does such a person exist? 35 Uchiha Obito still doesn't understand? Shi Shangyang didn't talk nonsense anymore, but said directly, this person Shimura Danzo, you should know. Uchiha Obito nodded. Shi Shangyang told some of the information he knew, focusing on Shimura Danzo's coveted position of Hokage, and Uchiha Obito immediately understood what Shi Shangyang meant. You mean, this thing can be done with Shimura Danzo? Shi Shangyang nodded. Trust me, he would love to see something happen to fourth Hokage, and you can also promise to hand over 9 tails to him at that time, so he will definitely not be able to refuse. But, in this case, won't Mr. Minato and the others still be hurt? Uchiha Obito frowned. Stupid, in this case, you can find a way to secretly put some water, as long as the final result is that Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Kushina are alive. How can ninja not be injured? Shi Shangyang sneered. Uchiha Obito can understand this, but he is now confused about another point. After the tailed beast was pulled from Jinchuriki's body, Jinchuriki should have died? Shi Shangyang nodded. It's true if it's an ordinary person, but don't forget that Uzumaki Kushina is a member of the Uzumaki clan. The vitality of this clan is more exaggerated than that of the Senju clan, so even if the tailed beast is pulled out, as long as the damage is not too much ruthless, life can still be preserved for a while. 35. Keep it for a while? Uchiha Obito's eyes widened. Shi Shangyang smiled and took out a glass bottle from his pocket, which contained 2 bright red pills. Advertisement, what is this? Uchiha Obito asked. Katakana middle dot 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 o. This is the medicine I have spent a lot of time getting, and its function is to replenish vitality. You don't need to understand the principle, you only need to know the effect of this thing. So, what effect does this medicine have? Shi Shangyang pouted and explained. It can repair the injury and replenish the vitality at the same time. The effect is very good. In the state of serious injury, 1 pill can be taken down immediately, and even a dying person can be saved by taking 1 pill. This is not his bragging, this thing is placed in the entire ninja world. It is also an absolute treasure, just because this thing is shaped by Shi Shangyang with Ultimate's chakra. The red substance outside is just a normal blood chi medicine, and the pill the inside is hollow. It can't be said to be hollow, just because the inside of the 2 pills is just the Yongdun chakra compressed to the extreme. For these 2 pills, Shi Shangyang has spent half of his chakra, which is already terrifying considering the amount of chakra he is now called a tailed beast. Well, then I'm relieved. Uchiha Obito is not someone who doesn't know how to be flexible, so he can understand the meaning of Shi Shangyang's actions. Now that he knows that Namikaze Minato and his wife will not have any bad results in this matter, he will not resist. However, do you really want to hand 9 tails to that guy? Uchiha Obito asked again. Shi Shangyang sneered. Of course not. Uchiha Obito frowned and said, but if you really want to rob Konoha's 9 tails, wouldn't the 9 tails really be mastered by Nagato and the others? What's the difference between this one being mastered by Black Zetsu? 99. Shi Shangyang signaled him not to worry, and then said, that's why I asked you to carry out this mission, because then I will personally take action, snatch half of the 9 tails chakra, and leave the other half to Konoha, so that, Konoha will not be too crazy because of the loss of 9 tails, but will also be afraid of you in secret, and at the same time will make Black Zetsu feel completely at ease with you. But wouldn't the mission fail then? Shi Shangyang smiled and said, what Black Zetsu cares about now is not whether the mission can be successful, what he cares about is whether you are really as he thinks, and you are trustworthy, don't you understand? 39. Chapter 161 Sasuke's mental power is too strong, please subscribe. Yup. Uchiha Obito was instantly excited. What he cares most about now is how to stabilize Black Zetsu. As an undercover agent, this kind of worry cannot be avoided, but if he really catches the gap of Kushina's childbirth and takes 9 tails away, even if it is not completed in the end, he will not let it go. Black Zetsu had any doubts. Uchiha Obito is now very clear about the origin of Black Zetsu, a guy who has been through thousands of years, just to save his mother. He doesn't even have to think about it, because he can't guess at all. Now there is just such an opportunity to truly gain the trust of Black Zetsu. After this matter, Uchiha Obito feels that he can breathe a sigh of relief. It's settled then, he said. Shi Shangyang nodded slightly and said, then let's say this first, if necessary, you need to go to Konoha in person to check the 9 Sanchi newspaper of good love in advance. Don't worry, I will. Uchiha Obito put down the stone in his heart and said impatiently, I'll go see Sasuke. Looking at his expectation, Sasuke is fake, and Nohara Rin is real. Shi Shangyang pouted his lips speechlessly, got up and said, let's go and have a look together, I haven't seen that child for a while. 35. Uchiha Obito was a little reluctant when he saw this. He went to see Lin with a clear purpose, but with Shi Shangyang, how could he get close to Lin? Don't you want me to go? Don't forget, Lin is my subordinate now. Shi Shangyang chuckled lightly. Hateful. What can Uchiha Obito do if he is not reconciled? He can only keep up with it honestly. Nohara Lin has a lot of things to do in the village, the school, the hospital, and the laboratory. In short, it's a lot of things. It doesn't matter how old she is, but Shi Shangyang often brings it up. Now she immediately after his vision was opened, his great potential erupted. Advertisement Shi Shangyang has never been stingy about talents, so Nohara Lin's treatment in Tien Village is also directly full. She is one of the many high-level executives in Tien Village. Although she is very busy on weekdays, she usually has stable holidays, time. Today is Nohara Rin's rest time. For this, Uchiha Obito may remember it better than Nohara Rin. Every time this guy comes, he chooses a day for Nohara Rin to rest. In his words, this way, he can have a relationship with Rin. More time together. Uchiha Obito is the only one in the ninja world to be able to lick dogs to this point. The two came to Nohara Lin's house not long after, a very chic little courtyard. The little girl took care of it beautifully, and the courtyard was full of flowers, which was pleasing to the eye. Lin, I'm here. Before entering the door, Uchiha Obito cried out, looking at his appearance, not to mention how happy he was. Soon, Nohara Rin, who was holding Sasuke, walked out of the room. It seemed that Obito came back at this time with a gentle smile. It was obvious that he came to see Sasuke, but in the end Uchiha Obito didn't even care about Sasuke, and went to talk to Nohara Rin. Shi Shangyang was not surprised by this, but little Sasuke became amused. Sasuke is now over 1 year old and has the same growth as a normal child. Now he looks no different from other children over 1 year old. He has just learned to walk and can speak some simple vocabulary, and his performance is no different from ordinary people. The reason for the formation of Sasuke, Shi Shangyang has not yet figured out, and has also experimented several times in the follow-up, but every time he creates a creature of life, there is no situation like Sasuke again, and in the end Shi Shangyang can only attribute it to this miracle. This child was brought by Rin Nohara, so he was very close to Rin Nohara, but he didn't have much feelings for Uchiha Obito, the biological father, mainly because Obito was greedy for Rin Nohara, and every time he came to see this child, I don't even know how to deal with it. It's normal to say that, strictly speaking, both Uchiha Obito and Nohara Rin are actually only about 14 years old now, and they are still children themselves. How do you know how to be a father? People in the ninja world are precocious, but not too early to mature. It is also thanks to Nohara Rin that she is a careful girl, otherwise Sasuke will have to be taken care of by others. Shi Shangyang came here this time mainly to check Sasuke's situation. After all, the birth of a normal child is different, so he still needs to be more careful. In order to take care of Sasuke, Nohara Rin built a small laboratory at home, put Sasuke on the test bench, put a sensor patch on it, and then turned on the instrument to check it carefully. Is there any problem with this child? Uchiha Obito was still a little concerned. Shi Shangyang stared at the value of the instrument, nodded after a while and said, Sasuke is very healthy, and his development is very good. There is no difference between normal children, but what? Nohara Rin immediately asked nervously. Advertisement, don't worry, it's not a big deal. Shi Shangyang explained. His pair of Sharingans may need to be sealed in a different way, because his pupil strength is growing too fast. Isn't it a good thing to increase pupil strength? Uchiha Obito wondered. Shi Shangyang rolled his eyes at him. At your level, the growth of pupil strength is of course no problem for you, but Sasuke is still young and his spirit is not stable. The rapid growth of pupil strength will affect his personality growth. Uchiha Obito scratches his head. So, is there any harm in that? Nohara Rin pulled his sleeve and explained in a low voice. Yang means that if Sasuke's pupil strength continues to grow uncontrollably, it will affect Sasuke's growth, and he may become unwise when he decides. 359. What? Uchiha Obito suddenly became a little nervous. Then what? Sasuke can't be a stupid kid, he said. Shi Shangyang said. It's good to strengthen the seal, other problems are not big. 3 Tomo is not something he can bear at his age. When he is a little older 3.0, the body grows up, when the physical and mental strength reaches a balance, then the Sharingan will no longer be a burden to him. Oh, I see, you mean his current body can't handle the power of the 3 Tomo Sharingan? Uchiha Obito asked. Shi Shangyang nodded. Sasuke has transcended the category of genius in the general sense. At least I have never seen some, and he can reach this level at an early age. The strength of the pupil power represents the strength of the spiritual power, and his current body is not yet starting to grow, so I think it's going to be like this for a couple of years at least. Uchiha Obito grinned knowingly, as expected of my son. 35. Shi Shangyang pouted, and Nohara Rin blushed. Chapter 162 Orochimaru's Sharingan, subscribe. It can be seen that this guy Uchiha Obito very much wants to be alone with Nohara Rin, and Shi Shangyang is only here to see Sasuke and understand the growth of this child. Naturally, he does not want to be a light bulb. So he didn't stay at Nohara Rin's house for long before he left alone. Shi Shangyang wanted to know how long it would take him to take Nohara Rin down with Uchiha Obito's current situation, to despise him. Not long after she came out of Nohara Rin's house, she was walking back when a figure suddenly appeared beside Shi Shangyang, kneeling on one knee on the ground. Master Chief, Orochimaru-sama, please come over. Shi Shangyang was not surprised that someone approached him and asked, what's wrong with him? The person who came was dressed as a ninja, with a brown vest for work, wearing a forehead protector. The forehead protector was nothing but the silhouette of a daisy, wearing a fox mask. This is Anbu of Tien Village established by Shi Shangyang. The number of people is not large now. The main thing is to build this department first, and the staff can be replenished gradually. Anbu Ninja said, Master Orochimaru transplanted the pair of Sharingans you gave him. Shi Shangyang was taken aback for a moment, then nodded. Well, back off. 99, yes, Lord Chief. 14 inches saw. Anbu Ninja disappears. Because of Shi Shangyang's own ability, even if he is the leader of TNG Village, there is usually no one around him. The main reason is that he does not want to be followed. The village is full of places that need manpower, and it is a complete waste of human resources to be followed. Without hesitation, the world went directly to the Orochimaru laboratory in the underground base, and soon found Orochimaru. By the way, have you solved the problem in those eyes? Shi Shangyang asked. At this time, Orochimaru was still the same half, but with bandages wrapped around his eyes. He was lying quietly on the chair, his head slightly raised. Yang-kun is here. Advertisement. Shi Shangyang didn't talk nonsense, watched Orochimaru stand up and took off the bandage on his eyes little by little. These eyes are really amazing. I can clearly feel the power of Yuhan in them. It is very strong and has a certain degree of suppression on my body. It seems that I want to really control these eyes. This body is still a little bit, barely. When the words fell, Orochimaru opened his eyes. A pair of scarlet eyes appeared in his sockets. Free Tomo swirls slightly in the eyes, coupled with his pale face. Everything looked very strange. Shi Shangyang immediately rushed to a special wave of pupil power, and then the scene before him began to change. It's fantasy. To Shi Shangyang, this level of illusion is not worth mentioning at all. He was only slightly shocked by chakra, and the scene in front of him quickly returned to its original state. Orochimaru frowned slightly. The illusion was broken, and the feedback of pupil power made him uncomfortable. Just because Shi Shangyang used the illusion that chakra violently destroyed, the illusion caused by the pupil will be immediately feedback to the caster after it is destroyed, naturally makes Orochimaru uncomfortable. Yang-kun is really scary. It seems that eyes like this are useless to you. Orochimaru added his lower lip. Shi Shangyang sat down casually on the chair beside him, frowned and said, Are you sure these eyes are all right? Shi Shangyang knew exactly what these eyes looked like. Originally, he wanted to use these eyes as Izanagi's consumption, but later, in order to attract Orochimaru, he gave them away. Of course, he also told Orochimaru that there was something wrong with his eyes in advance. As for whether or not to use Orochimaru and how to use it, that is Orochimaru's own problem, and has nothing to do with him. Shi Shangyang also believes that with Orochimaru's ability, he will definitely be able to find the problem with the eyes and solve it. I haven't seen any movement from Orochimaru for more than a year, but I didn't expect him to suffer from these eyes at this time, which made Shi Shangyang somewhat surprised. He. Orochimaru chuckled lightly, picked up the mirror and looked at it, and said at the same time, No problem, the means left in these eyes have been completely removed by me. Oh, are you determined? You must know that it was Uchiha Madara's means of staying, Shi Shangyang said. HMPH, it's just a special spell, it's not difficult for me, Orochimaru said. Shi Shangyang still believes in this point. Shi Shangyang also naturally knows what is left in the pair of Sharingan. It is indeed a curse mark, but it is a special curse mark, which can act on the user's spirit and will magnify the use of it. The negative mental state of the person makes it more extreme. Advertisement. This is just an appearance. The real function of the spell is to control the user. If the eyes are transplanted rashly and used for a long time, the spirit of the user will be controlled by Sharingan. When someone activates this spell, the user will definitely become the caster's puppet. This is not alarmist at all. Of course Shi Shangyang can solve the problem in those eyes, but it also takes some time. Shi Shangyang doesn't want to waste time on this kind of thing, so it is a solution to Orochimaru. That's good, you are a good collaborator, I don't want anything wrong with you at this time. But it seems that you are ready to change your body? Shi Shangyang asked. Orochimaru grinned and said, I have this idea, but living corpse reincarnation still has something unfinished, and if I change my body now, there will be a 3-month period of weakness. After more than a year, Orochimaru spent the rest of his time researching living corpse reincarnation in addition to developing self-shaped human puppets. Shi Shangyang also participated in this aspect, and also provided Orochimaru with a lot of ideas. The idea you provided earlier is very interesting. If you can actually turn the sigil into the wedge you're talking about, then living corpse reincarnation is truly complete. Shi Shangyang shook his head. Looking at it now, if you want to really create a wedge, it is difficult to do it with your own strength, because we are missing a key thing. 99. What? Orochimaru was immediately interested. Shi Shangyang didn't answer directly, but said, living corpse reincarnation's restrictions are still too big, and now it seems that the ability of the spell seal is still too single, maybe you should look in another direction. Seeing that Shi Shangyang didn't answer, Orochimaru didn't care much. He was used to Shi Shangyang's general attitude and asked, "Which direction?" 99. Chakra. Chakra. Orochimaru was startled, then frowned. "Tell me what you think." Shi Shangyang said, "In my vision, the spell mark should not be as simple as the positioning of the soul, but should become an ability that can increase strength, thus improving the physical potential of the practitioner, and it is also of great significance to living corpse reincarnation." Benefit. 99. Hearing this, Orochimaru frowned and thought selfishly, then nodded involuntarily. "You are right, in this way, even if it is from the other direction, the problem of not being weak after reincarnation is solved." Chapter 163. Entering Ryuchi Cave. Please subscribe. What Shi Shangyang said is actually the living corpse reincarnation technique completed by Orochimaru in the original plot. At that time, the living corpse reincarnation was already perfect, and the curse mark on the second pillar was also derived from Changwu's fairy technique, chakra. Therefore, when Urzuzi was fighting with Naruto, he opened the second stage of the spell, which greatly enhanced his abilities in all aspects. In Shi Shangyang's view, the spell seal of living corpse reincarnation is more like the wedge on the Otsutsuki clan in the starry sky, but at best it can only be regarded as an inferior and weakened version, but the properties of the two are very similar, so if continued to develop in this direction, maybe it is really possible to make a spell that resembles a wedge. If it really reaches that stage, it will definitely be an absolute good news for Tien Village. At that time, the ninja world will be considered to be one more kind, able to compete with the power of the Otsutsuki. Orochimaru was thinking. Shi Shangyang's words gave him inspiration. He liked this feeling very much. Every time he communicated with Shi Shangyang, Shi Shangyang always surprised him, and this time it was the same. But, where should the power of immortality come from? This is a problem. At this time, it is still uncertain whether Changwu was born or not, and even if he is born, he does not know where to look. The current curse mark is only an initial product at most. In the original plot, Orochimaru copied the curse mark from Chongo, and then developed a special curse mark belonging to living corpse reincarnation. Strength enhancing effect. The current spell can only be used to locate the soul at most, that is, when performing living corpse reincarnation, it is used to locate one's own soul. Otherwise, the caster will easily find the correct body in the process. Dissipate, that is very dangerous. Shi Shangyang pointed out. You can think about it carefully, in fact, you have a channel to obtain immortal magic. Orochimaru is not stupid, he thought of it instantly. You mean Ryuchi Cave? Shi Shangyang nodded. The magic of Ryuchi Cave, you should be clear about it. Unexpectedly, Orochimaru shook his head when he heard the words. That kind of power is too weak. Ah. Shi Shangyang chuckled, thinking it was very interesting, and said, as a researcher, you seem to have made a mistake. What? Advertisement? The strength of power is related to people, not the ability itself, isn't it? Orochimaru grinned lightly. HMPH, Yang-kun, you read it very clearly, it's exactly what you said. Shi Shangyang said. Furthermore, for us, the biggest effect of immortality is to let us know the working principle of immortality, not immortality itself. It is just a kind of power. After we master this kind of power, it is possible to develop a more powerful ability with this. Orochimaru, you must remember this clearly. This is what researchers should do. Orochimaru froze for a moment, then he laughed lowly, the voice getting louder and louder, until it finally turned into a laugh. You're right, Yang-kun, you can really surprise people. I think it was the wisest decision to agree to your proposal. 99. Orochimaru is the kind of person who has an idea and immediately does it, so he just bites his finger and starts to make a mark. Summoning technique. Boom. There was a 2-meter-long snake inside, and the snake opened its mouth and spit out a huge scroll from it. Yang-kun, this is the summoning scroll of Ryuchi Cave, and you can leave your name on it. Saying that, the big white snake turned into white smoke and disappeared with a bang, and Orochimaru unfolded the scroll and placed it on the ground. Shi Shangyang didn't hesitate, bit his finger and wrote his name on it. Then Yang-kun, come with me to meet the white snake immortal, she has the cultivation method of immortality, Orochimaru said. Shi Shangyang nodded. In the next moment, the two of them made a seal at the same time. Inverse summoning technique. Advertisement. If you perform the summoning technique without contracting with the summoning beast, you will be thrown into any place between heaven and earth, even in the starry sky, or in a distorted time and space. Therefore, losing your life is extremely difficult. Normal. But after the contract is over, performing the reverse summoning technique is equivalent to a teleportation. Shi Shangyang and Orochimaru signed a contract with Ryuchi Cave. After performing this technique, they will naturally be sent to Ryuchi Cave. There was only a flower in front of him, and in the next moment, he could clearly see everything in front of him. This is a huge underground cave. The top of the cave is very high, at least according to Shi Shangyang's eyes. This height is at least 300 or 400 meters, of spikes. The cave is very dark, and only a few things can be seen faintly, but this is not a problem for Shi Shangyang and Orochimaru. Led by Orochimaru, Shi Shangyang followed, and the two walked towards Ryuchi Cave. It's really a magical place. Is this the ninja world? Or another space? Shi Shangyang asked. Orochimaru added his lower lip and grinned. I don't know much about this, but this is still the ninja world, but where it exists in the ninja world, I don't know, The Holy Land has always been so mysterious. Shi Shangyang nodded, not surprised by such an answer. The two walked for about 10 minutes, and they were almost at the depths of Ryuchi Cave. Here, they could see some strange snake-shaped stone carvings, which were lifelike, but Shi Shangyang knew that the prototype of those snake-shaped stone carvings was actually Ryuchi. As for why the snakes in the cave become stones, naturally, Nuoli how, it is because of the practice of immortality. Hey, are there any guests coming? Not far away, a voice suddenly came, and then a girl in a witch costume came out of the shadows and looked at Shi Shangyang curiously. The girl has dark blue long hair and wears a golden crown with golden balls on top of the crown, long golden pupils, red eyeshadow with black extending to the nose, as pale skin as Orochimaru, and even in terms of temperament, she is more beautiful than Orochimaru. Orochimaru wants some Orochimaru. Orochimaru, did you bring this guy to try? You should know the rules, right? The girl asked. Orochimaru sneered. Are there rules? Haha, interesting, but unfortunately this kind of rules may not apply to Yang-kun. Shi Shangyang smiled and said, no, since there are rules, then follow the rules. Chapter 164 Snake Breath Natural Induction, subscribe. He came to be interested. This kind of existence that is different from other places in the ninja world, what kind of ability it will have in it, he is more concerned about it, especially the immortal art, if possible, he still really wants to see it. If that's the case, then come with me. After the girl finished speaking, she turned around and led the two of them towards the depths of the cave. After walking through a stalagmite, the girl's figure suddenly disappeared, and silently, even Shi Shangyang lost the sense of the other party. Interesting. 39 Thinking like this, he stood still. Orochimaru seemed to know something, added his lower lip and stepped aside, and said at the same time, Yang-kun should be careful, Ichikishimahime's methods are a bit weird. Ichikishimahime. 35 Shi Shangyang just smiled and nodded, then closed his eyes. Have you been frightened? Ichijimaji's voice came, like a little girl who was playing, and continued. I want to enter Ryuchi Cave, but I have to pass 3 levels, I am only the first level here, if you can't pass this if it is 1 level, I will swallow it in 1 bite. 99. Let's start. There was a hint of impatience in Shi Shangyang's voice, and his eyes were still tightly closed. HMPH, nasty brat. Ichijimaji's voice 953 disappeared, and then Shi Shangyang felt the temperature around him began to drop. He heard the whistling wind, and even a cold touch fell on his face. This feeling was like a wind snow. Shi Shangyang opened his eyes with a playful look on his face. In his eyes, the cave has disappeared, replaced by a vast world, but it is ice and snow, the wind is howling, and snowflakes are falling. Whether it is visual or tactile, nothing indicates that this is a real scene. But in Shi Shangyang's eyes, all this seems to be full of loopholes. He stretched out his hand, a few snowflakes fell on the palm of his hand, the cold touch was very real, and the appearance of the snowflakes melting into water droplets was not at all false, but no matter how disguised, all of this gave Shi Shangyang an incongruous feeling. By the way, if it's a snowy day, it should be cloudy, right? What does the sun above mean? Haven't you seen the outside? Shi Shangyang couldn't hold back, and finally spoke his spit out. Advertisement, Ichikishimahime's voice was a little panicked, and then the picture in Shi Shangyang's eyes changed, and the sky changed from a clear sky to a cloudy sky. Is that all right, beta? Shi Shangyang shook his head and felt a little powerless to complain. Forget it, it seems like this is just a waste of time. Shi Shangyang can feel the special energy in the surrounding environment, which is something he has never felt before, thinking that this should be the energy of fairy magic. The next moment, his eyes changed to the eternal Mangekyo state, while turning his head to look in one direction. In the shadows in that direction, Ichikishimahime was standing quietly, looking at Shi Shangyang expectantly. What she expected was that Shi Shangyang couldn't pass the test, and then she had a reason to swallow Shi Shangyang. She hadn't swallowed anyone for a long time, and she couldn't wait to think about it now. But the world in her eyes changed abruptly. The top of the cave and the ground began to close together, and the sharp stone thorns turned into long snakes, and the snakes twisted and shot towards her, wide mouth, fangs glowing with cold light. Ah! Ichikishima-ji exclaimed, subconsciously revealing her body, her hands stretched out, and a special energy wave burst out from her hands, trying to peel off the chakra from those snakes. This is one of her abilities. With this ability, she has a high status in Ryuchi Cave, but the ability used to punish other snakes in the past has no effect on these shooters. The snakes attacked her unaffectedly, and they were about to reach her. How so? At this moment, she couldn't maintain the appearance of her little girl, and she showed her snake face, which looked very hideous. Well, it turned out to be a little green snake. Shi Shangyang's voice came from beside him, and then everything in front of Hime Ichijima disappeared. It was still a cave, and the surrounding environment was unchanged from before, and those snakes seemed to have never appeared before. What's going on? Ichikishima-hime asked in surprise. Shi Shangyang just smiled. In this case, have I passed this stage? Ichikishima-hime regained the little girl's face again, with a strange expression, but when she saw Shi Shangyang's eyes, her eyes widened. That's the kind of eyes that are legendary in the ninja world? 35. Advertisement, hey, you know this kind of eyes too? This time, it was Shi Shangyang's turn to have an accident. He thought Shikishima had never been outside. So that's it, Sharingan. No wonder you can see through my illusion. You passed the test, Ichikishima-ji turned her head, looking very angry and disappointed, but she didn't know that her actions just now caused her to reveal 2 cards. 2 purple cards. Drop. Congratulations to host for obtaining the ability card Snake Breath, Invisibility, Close Black Lens Bracket. Drop. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the ability card Snake Breath, Natural Induction, Close Black Lens Bracket. The 2 cards were increased by 4 times and 8 times respectively. The former became a gold card, and the latter became a golden card. The former Shi Shangyang doesn't care much, and the invisible ninjutsu Shi Shangyang can also. It's amazing that this Snake Breath Invisibility has the invisible ability that makes people unable to perceive chakra, but for Shi Shangyang, this effect is not powerful, because he also has a similar ability can hide chakra. The latter word made Shi Shangyang very concerned. He used this card without any hesitation, and immediately knew the use of this ability. As he thought, this is a kind of natural induction talent, and the induction is natural energy, which is exactly what Shi Shangyang needs, and this alone makes Shi Shangyang feel that this trip is worthwhile. Little devil, the latter 2 guys won't be as simple as me, you guys have to be prepared to be eaten, Ichikishima said. Shi Shangyang shook his head and said to Orochimaru, let's go in directly. Orochimaru is absolutely essential. The next moment, the golden chakra suddenly poured out from Shi Shangyang's body, and bones and muscles quickly condensed on his body. Almost in a blink of an eye, a half-length giant with a height of more than 50 meters appeared in the field. Shi Shangyang floated in midair, condescending, and said to Ichijima, whose eyes widened in shock, I'm in a hurry. If I can, I hope to see the White Snake Immortal directly, okay? You be *************************************** D. Ichikishima regained her snake body, and then her body quickly swelled up. A giant chakra sword suddenly slid across the throat of Ichijima, and Shi Shangyang said, if you can't, then you should die here. At this moment, Shi Shangyang burst into murderous intent. Chapter 165 is bound to Ryuchi Cave, please subscribe. Under that murderous intent that seemed to be the real thing, Ichikishima felt cold all over her body. She would never have imagined that the kid in front of her would be so terrifying. The golden giant gave her a terrifying sense of oppression. It's like encountering a natural enemy. It is said that the instinct of animals is very strong, and now she instinctively feels the danger of death, so the posture that was just about to rush forward stopped instantly, and her body seemed to be a little stiff. Shi Shangyang didn't speak again, but looked at the other party quietly, waiting for the other party's response. The atmosphere was slightly stagnant, and after a while, Ichikishima finally flinched, and instinctively told her that if she really moved forward, she might really die, and this result was obviously not what she wanted. Orochimaru, I will tell the White Immortal about this, Ichikishima said coldly. Orochimaru just added his lower lip and chuckled softly. He, what's the point of this kind of thing? Ichikishima snorted coldly, and then her body began to shrink, and then returned to her adult form, back to that kind of little girl. All of this falls in the eyes of Shi Shangyang. He is very clear that the other party is not really deformed, but more of a body change and illusion effect, but how to change between a petite body and a huge snake body is difficult to observe, obviously, is the exclusive means of the other party. Shi Shangyang was curious about it, but didn't care too much. Ichikishima turned around and walked forward without saying a word. Shi Shangyang scattered Susanoo, and Orochimaru followed, behind. The 3 of them didn't say anything. The deeper they went, the more gloomy the cave became. There were some white bones on the ground. It didn't appear in an instant. Not long after, the 3 of them were stopped by one person. Get out of the way. Sunjin Ichikishima said coldly. Giggle, what's the matter with you? Are you being held hostage? Gecko, Orochimaru, is this the guest you brought? The beautiful woman Tanjin said with a smile. Orochimaru grinned and didn't say much. Shi Shangyang looked at Sunjin, and a red light flashed in his eyes. The next moment, Sunjin face became dazed. Let's go, Shi Shangyang said. When Ichikishima saw this, her face became gloomy again. If you want to enter Ryuchi Cave, you have to go through 3 levels in total. Obviously, Tanjin just now is the 2nd level, and the 3rd is just ahead. Ichikishima, who did you bring? A female voice rang out in the dark, and then a woman also dressed in a witch costume came out. Advertisement Ichijima snorted and said, Orochimaru brought people in to see the White Snake Immortal. 39. Is that so? Let's see if you can pass my level, the woman said. Shi Shangyang said. Sorry, I don't want to waste time with you, let's go. Saying that, he looked at him with another look, Kr. The woman seemed to be stronger than Shijishima and Sunjin. After seeing Shi Shangyang's eyes, her complexion instantly changed, turning into a ferocious snake face, and the snake let her spit out, looking very scary. But the next moment, the woman's expression slowed down, and then gradually became dull. Shi Shangyang snapped his fingers. Let's go. After all, he ignored the still a little sluggish Ichikishima and walked straight forward. Ichijima regained his senses, wrinkled his nose, and looked at Shi Shangyang's back with a cold look. only to see Shi Shangyang suddenly turn back with a smile on his face. "You, what are you going to do?" Ichikashima Haim took a step back. Shi Shangyang pointed to his own eyes, and then pointed to Haim Ichijima, revealing a meaningful smile. Orochimaru grinned the whole time without making a sound, as if he was watching a play. The three continued to move forward, while Shi Shangyang calmly collected a card dropped by G. Kitsujima Haim just now, and the corners of his mouth twitched unconsciously. Golden card. Dip. Congratulations to host for obtaining the ability card Sage Art Practice Experience. Close black lens bracket. Dip. Congratulations to the ability card and Sage Art Practice Experience obtained by host, which has been increased by 7 times, and has been upgraded to ability card, Sage Art Practice Experience, Grandmaster. This is quite nice. First acquired the ability to sense nature, and then had the experience of Sage Art Practice, Shi Shangyang can now turn his head and go back. However, when he came here, he still wanted to get the orthodox Ryuchi Cave Immortal art from the White Snake Immortal. It was easier to practice on your own than someone taught him. Soon, the three of them came to the entrance of a cave. The entrance of the cave was in the shape of a door with a stone plaque on it. The book had the 3 characters Ryuchi Cave, but it was a variant. Shi Shangyang didn't say anything about it. After all, it was another world. There's no need to compare this. When I got here, the surrounding light was much brighter, because there were torches around to illuminate it, although it was not dark, but the environment in the cave was just like that, so naturally it was not that good. Katakana middle dot for flowers katakana middle dot 0 advertisement. It's here, let's go in. Ichijima Ji snorted coldly. Shi Shangyang glanced at Orochimaru, who nodded slightly. Upon seeing this, Shi Shangyang did not hesitate and strode forward. When I entered the interior, I found that there is a unique cave here. There are actually many buildings in the cave. Those buildings look very simple and have traces of time at a glance. Not so subtle, but rather heavy. Entering the main hall, you will see a large white-scaled snake sitting on a stone-carved chair. The scales on this big snake protruded like barbs, and the horns of the head were protruding. There was actually a black turban on its head, and a huge orb on its neck. The strangest thing was that it was actually holding a cigarette. Can you believe it, with a cigarette? Seemingly sensing the approach, the white-scaled snake opened its eyes, exhaled a puff of smoke, and set his sights on Shi Shangyang. Immortal, this guy. Before she could finish her words, Shijimajima was interrupted by the big white-scaled snake, who said, I already know their intentions, you can go down. 5. Ichijimaji gave Shi Shangyang a stern look, then bowed and left. Young man with fairy eyes, you want to get the sage art of Ryuchi Cave from me, right? Said the white-scaled snake. Its voice is a very old female voice, hoarse and unpleasant, and in this respect it is in the same style as Orochimaru. Shi Shangyang was not surprised that the White Snake Immortal would know this, and nodded. It is indeed the case. Besides, I have another suggestion. I wonder if the White Snake Immortal would like it. The White Snake Immortal stared at Shi Shangyang and said, what proposal? The White Snake Immortal did not answer this question, but looked at Orochimaru and said, are you his subordinate now? 35. Orochimaru didn't change his smile and hissed, strictly speaking, that's right. I don't care about the future, Orochimaru hummed. The future? It's time to make a choice, so kid, I agree to your request. The White Snake Immortal nodded slightly, and then said to himself, it looks like you, Orochimaru, have placed your future on this little devil. Please subscribe. Only. Little devil, what can you bring to Ryuchi Cave? Asked the White Snake Immortal. Shi Shangyang shrugged. In the future, this is all I can bring you. How about a contract between Ryuchi Cave and TNG-kun? Shi Shangyang said with a smile.